How to stop overthinking and find calm in a world of constant chaos. Introduction. Lying awake at 3 a.m., replaying a conversation from yesterday, spinning in circles, paralyzed by a decision that seems monumental. You're not alone. Our minds, designed for survival, have been hijacked by the constant noise of modern life. This isn't a textbook on psychology. This is a practical guide. It's a conversation about reclaiming your peace. We're not going to try to empty your mind. That's impossible. We're going to learn how to turn down the volume, how to find the calm eye in the center of your personal storm. This book is your permission slip to stop the endless looping and start living. Chapter 1. The Overthinking Loop. Why your brain is a runaway train. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on a train platform. This is not just any train. This train is your mind. It's a powerful engine designed to take you to wonderful and useful destinations. It can carry you to the land of creative ideas, the city of careful planning, or the town of happy memories when it's working properly. It's the most incredible vehicle in the world. It serves you, and you are the conductor. You choose the destination, you decide the speed, and you tell it when to stop. But for so many of us, something has gone terribly wrong. The train has left the station without you, and you are not in the conductor's seat. In fact, you feel like you've been tied to the tracks, forced to watch it speed past, again and again. It isn't going to any useful destination anymore. It's just racing on a closed loop. The scenery is always the same. It's a landscape of worry, a valley of regret, and a mountain of what-ifs. The noise is deafening, the clatter of the wheels on the track, a constant rhythm of anxiety. This right here is the feeling of overthinking. It is your own powerful mind turned into a runaway train, on a track that leads nowhere. You know this feeling intimately, don't you? It's the mental exhaustion you feel at the end of the day, even when you haven't done much physically. It's the endless debate in your head over a simple text message, analyzing every word, every punctuation mark, looking for a hidden meaning that probably isn't there. It's the replaying of an awkward moment from a party last week, cringing each time as if it just happened. It's the paralysis that sets in when you have to make a choice, whether it's what to eat for dinner or whether to take a new job. Your mind presents you with so many possibilities, so many potential disasters, that you end up doing nothing at all. You are not weak, you are not broken, and you are not crazy. You are simply a human being with a highly advanced brain that is trying to protect you. But its protection system has gone into overdrive. The purpose of this chapter is not to blame you or your brain. It is to help you understand the machine, to look at the runaway train not with fear, but with curiosity. Once you understand how the engine works, you can begin to learn how to gently apply the brakes. To understand this runaway train, we need to meet the engineer that's supposed to be driving it. In neuroscience, there's a fascinating system called the default mode network, or DMN. That sounds complicated, so let's give it a much simpler name. Let's call it your brain's screensaver. Think about your computer. When you are actively typing a document or browsing the web, you are focused on a task. But when you step away for a few minutes, the screensaver kicks in. Your brain has the exact same feature. When you are not actively focused on a specific task in the outside world, like reading a sign, listening to a person speak, or solving a math problem, your brain's screensaver, the default mode network, turns on. Its job is to think about you, your past, your future, and your relationships with other people. This was an incredible evolutionary advantage. Our ancestors used their DMN to learn from past mistakes, to plan for the hunt tomorrow, and to navigate complex social dynamics within the tribe. It allowed them to think. Last time I walked near that cave, I saw a lion. I should avoid it in the future. Or, Gronk shared his food with me. I should share my food with him to strengthen our bond. This ability to mentally time travel, to reflect on the past and simulate the future, is a huge part of what makes us human. It is a superpower. But here is the problem with modern life. Our superpower has been turned against us. We no longer live in a small tribe where the dangers are clear and present, like a lion or a famine. We live in a world of constant, low-grade stresses, a world of emails, notifications, social pressures, and a 24/7 news cycle of distant disasters. Our brain's screensaver, our what-if machine, doesn't know the difference between a real lion and an angry email from your boss. To your ancient brain wiring, a threat is a threat. So what happens? Your brain's screensaver is no longer a tool for occasional planning and reflection. It has become the main program, running constantly in the background. It hijacks your attention whenever there is a spare moment. When you are driving your car, instead of just driving, your DMN kicks in and starts worrying about that bill you have to pay. When you are trying to fall asleep, the quiet darkness is a perfect invitation for your DMN to present you with a movie marathon of your greatest embarrassments and future fears. It has become a relentless what-if machine. It specializes in crafting the most detailed and terrifying worst-case scenarios. What if I get fired? What if my partner leaves me? What if I get sick? What if that thing I said sounded stupid? What if I fail? This machine is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to prepare you for every possible negative outcome so that you won't be surprised. It's working from an ancient survival script that says, it is better to assume there is a tiger in every bush than to be eaten by the one you didn't expect. The problem is, in our modern world, there are very few tigers, but our minds are busy creating millions of imaginary ones, and we are exhausting ourselves fighting them. Let's look at this in action. Consider Sarah, a talented marketing manager. She's driving home from work. The radio is playing softly. This is a moment of low focus, the perfect time for her brain's screensaver to activate. It starts innocently. She thinks about the meeting she had today. Her boss made a comment. We need to see some big results on this project. Now a healthy task-oriented mind might process this as, okay, I need to focus on delivering results. I'll make a plan tomorrow. But Sarah's overthinking mind, her runaway train, grabs onto that comment and leaves the station at full speed. The first loop is analysis. What did he mean by big results? Were my previous results not big enough? Does he think I'm underperforming? The train picks up speed. The next loop is self-criticism. I should have presented the data differently. I probably sounded uncertain. Jane always sounds so confident. He probably thinks Jane would do a better job. The scenery outside the train window is now filled with images of her colleague, Jane, getting praised while she stands in the background. Now the train enters the tunnel of future casting. If I don't get big results, I might get a bad performance review. If that happens, I won't get a raise. With the cost of everything going up, I need that raise. What if they decide to downsize the department? I could be the first to go. How will I pay my mortgage? In the span of a 10-minute drive home, Sarah has gone from a simple comment in a meeting to the verge of homelessness, all inside her own head. She arrives home feeling anxious, drained, and completely demoralized. She hasn't solved a single problem. She has only tortured herself with possibilities. This is the what-if machine in action, a creative mind using its power for self-destruction. You have your own version of Sarah's story. Your details are different, but the mechanism is the same. Your power of imagination, when unchecked, becomes a factory for fear. This brings us to a crucial distinction that can change everything: the difference between rumination and reflection. These two words may seem similar, but they represent two entirely different paths. One leads to wisdom and growth. The other leads to a dark, circular pit of despair. Understanding this difference is like being given a compass on that runaway train. It allows you to finally see where you are going. Reflection is looking at the past with the goal of learning. It is productive, it is curious, and it has an end point. Reflection feels like you are a detective, calmly examining the evidence to solve a case. You ask questions like, what happened? What was my role in it? What could I have done differently? What can I learn from this to do better next time? The emotional tone of reflection is neutral or even empowering. You are extracting a lesson that will make you stronger or wiser. For example, let's go back to Sarah's meeting. Reflection would sound like this. My boss wants big results. Okay, his comment made me feel a bit insecure, but let's look at the facts. The project is important, and he's counting on me. What concrete steps can I take tomorrow to define what big results look like? I'll schedule a brief meeting with him to clarify the goals. I'll also brainstorm 3 new strategies to present to him. This experience teaches me that I need to be more proactive in defining expectations. See the difference. Reflection moves forward. It creates a plan. It is an act of self-improvement. Rumination, on the other hand, is being stuck in the past with no intention of learning. It is an emotional loop, not an intellectual one. It feels heavy, draining, and pointless. If reflection is being a detective, rumination is being the prisoner in the dock. Prosecuting yourself over and over for the same crime, you aren't looking for lessons. You are marinating in the negative feelings of the event. Shame, guilt, anger, or embarrassment. You ask questions like, why did I say that? I'm so stupid. Why does this always happen to me? Everyone must think I'm an idiot. I can't believe I did that. Rumination is the runaway train. It is Sarah's internal monologue in the car. It doesn't solve anything. It just deepens the emotional wound. It replays the mistake, magnifies the flaw, and cements the negative self-belief. It's like picking at a scab. You are not allowing the wound to heal. You are keeping it fresh and painful, because on some level, the obsessive focus feels like you are doing something about it. But you are not. You are just suffering repeatedly for a past event that cannot be changed. Let's take another example. Mark went through a painful breakup a few months ago. If Mark is reflecting, he might think, that relationship ended because we had different long-term goals, and I also have a tendency to be a poor communicator when I'm stressed. I need to work on expressing my feelings more clearly in my next relationship. I also learned that I need a partner who shares my values on family. This is painful, yes, but it is productive. It is mining the heartbreak for gold. He is learning about himself and what he needs. Now let's see what it looks like when Mark is ruminating. He lies in bed at night thinking, I can't believe she left me. What's wrong with me? I'll never find anyone else. I'll die alone. I remember that one stupid thing I said 2 years ago. That must be why she fell out of love with me. If only I hadn't said that, we would still be together. He scrolls through her social media, looking for clues, torturing himself with her happy pictures. This is rumination. It offers no new information, no growth, only a cycle of pain that keeps him trapped in the past. The first and most powerful step you can take to stop overthinking is to start noticing the difference in your own mind. When you find yourself thinking about a past event, ask yourself this simple question. Am I reflecting or am I ruminating? Am I being a detective or am I being a prisoner? Just asking the question can be enough to break the spell. It gives you a moment of awareness, a moment where you can choose to step off the runaway train and onto the platform of reflection. This leads us to the final piece of the puzzle in this chapter, the deep, hidden reason why we allow this runaway train to keep going. It is the illusion of control. Human beings crave certainty and control. Our brains are wired to want to know what is going to happen next. It is a survival instinct. Uncertainty feels dangerous. So, when we are faced with an uncertain future or a painful past that we can't change, overthinking presents itself as a solution. It tricks us into believing that if we just think about a problem long enough, hard enough, and from every possible angle, we can control the outcome. If we replay a past mistake 1,000 times, maybe we can somehow mentally undo it. If we simulate every possible negative future scenario, maybe we can prevent them all from happening. This is, of course, an illusion, and it is a cruel one. You cannot change the past by ruminating on it. You cannot guarantee a perfect future by worrying about it. All you are doing is sacrificing your present moment at the altar of an illusion. Thinking about the problem is not the same as solving the problem. In fact, most of the time, overthinking is the very thing that prevents you from taking the action that would actually solve the problem. Consider the simple act of choosing a movie to watch. You scroll through a streaming service for an hour. You read reviews, you watch trailers. You weigh the pros and cons of a comedy versus a drama. You are so afraid of making the wrong choice and wasting 2 hours on a bad movie that you end up wasting an hour on no movie at all. And then you go to bed feeling frustrated. This is the illusion of control in miniature. You are trying to guarantee a perfect outcome, and in doing so, you create a worse outcome: paralysis. This desire for control is what fuels the what-if machine. It's what keeps you locked in rumination, because letting go of the thought feels like you are giving up. It feels like you are surrendering control. Your mind tells you, no, don't stop thinking about this, it's important. If you stop, something bad will happen, and it will be your fault for not being prepared. So you continue to spin the wheels, going nowhere. But feeling like the spinning itself is a productive act. It is not. It is the opposite of productive. True control is not the ability to mentally rehearse every possibility. True control is the ability to recognize when your thinking has become destructive and to gently redirect your attention back to the present moment, back to what you can actually influence, right here, right now. Your journey to finding calm begins with this understanding. It begins with compassion for your own mind, which is only trying to do the job it was designed for. It begins with recognizing the runaway train for what it is, a pattern of thought, not a reflection of reality. It begins with learning to distinguish the helpful path of reflection from the painful circle of rumination. And it begins with letting go of the exhausting illusion that you can think your way to a perfect, controllable world. You cannot. And that is okay. Your power does not lie in controlling everything. It lies in controlling the one thing you can, your focus. In the chapters to come, we will move from understanding the problem to building a practical toolkit of solutions. For now, your only task is to become an observer. Notice the train. Notice when you are ruminating. Notice when you are trying to control the uncontrollable. Do not judge it. Do not fight it. Just notice. This simple act of awareness is the first light at the end of the tunnel. It is the first sign that the conductor is finally waking up. You are not the storm. You are the sky. You have the power to let the thought clouds pass, and you are about to learn how. Chapter 2. The Architects of Chaos. Taming your digital world. We have looked inside at the internal mechanics of the runaway train of overthinking. Now, we must look outside. We must look at the world we have built around ourselves, because that world is constantly pouring fuel on the fire. You could have the most profound insights into your own mind, but if you live in an environment designed to create anxiety and distraction, you will always be fighting an uphill battle. It's like trying to stay dry in a hurricane without a raincoat. In this chapter, we are going to identify the modern architects of chaos, the external forces in our daily lives that are engineered to hijack our attention and feed our overthinking. More importantly, we are going to learn how to build our own shelter from the storm, how to become the conscious architect of our own environment, and how to take back control from the forces that seek to command our focus. The first and most powerful architect of chaos is likely within arm's reach right now. It might be in your pocket, on your desk, or glowing on your nightstand. It is your smartphone, but it is not the device itself that is the problem. It is the ecosystem it represents. An ecosystem designed by some of the smartest people in the world with one goal: to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible. They do this by turning your phone into the most effective dopamine slot machine ever invented. To understand this, we need to talk about a chemical in your brain called dopamine. For a long time, people thought dopamine was the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. It is more accurately described as the motivation chemical or the anticipation chemical. Dopamine is what makes you want, seek, and search. It is the engine of desire. It is released not when you get a reward, but in anticipation of a potential reward. And the key to making it most powerful is unpredictability. Imagine a simple slot machine in Las Vegas. You pull the lever, the wheels spin, you might win, or you might lose. It is this might, this variable, unpredictable reward, that makes it so addictive. If the slot machine paid out every single time, you would get bored. If it never paid out, you would give up and walk away. But because you never know when the next reward is coming, your brain is flooded with the dopamine of anticipation, making you want to pull the lever just one more time. Now look at your phone. Every time you pull down to refresh your email inbox or your social media feed, you are pulling the lever of a slot machine. The spinning wheel is that little loading icon. And what is the reward? It could be nothing, just the same old posts, or it could be a jackpot. A new like on your photo, a comment from a friend, an exciting email, a juicy piece of gossip, because the reward is unpredictable. Your brain releases dopamine. It says, "This could be good. Check it again. Check it one more time." Every notification, every red dot, every buzz and every ping is a call from the slot machine, engineered to trigger that dopamine loop and keep you coming back for more. Let's be very clear, this is not an accident. It is a design. Tech companies employ teams of people, including psychologists and neuroscientists, in what they call persuasive technology. Their job is to use the principles of human psychology to make their products as engaging or addictive as possible. A former Google design ethicist, Tristan Harris, has spoken extensively about this. He famously said that there are only two industries that call their customers users: illegal drugs and software. This is not to say these people are evil. They are simply competing in an attention economy, where your time and your focus are the most valuable commodities. The unfortunate side effect of this competition is that our brains are being rewired for constant distraction. We are training ourselves to be unable to tolerate even a few seconds of boredom. The moment we are standing in a line, waiting for an elevator, or sitting at a red light, we pull out the phone to pull the lever on the slot machine. This robs us of the very moments of quiet reflection and mental downtime that our brains need to process information and rest. Instead, we are constantly feeding the machine, giving our overthinking minds more and more raw material, more comments to analyze, more news to worry about, and more lives to compare ourselves to. This brings us to the second architect of chaos, the devastatingly effective comparison trap. Human beings are social creatures. We are hardwired to compare ourselves to others. In our evolutionary past, this was a useful survival mechanism. In a small tribe of 150 people, comparing yourself to the best hunter or the best storyteller gave you a clear path for self-improvement. It helped you understand social hierarchies and your place within the group. But that ancient software of social comparison was never designed to handle the input of billions of people, which is what social media gives us. When you open an app like Instagram or Facebook, you are not comparing yourself to your 150-person tribe. You are comparing your own messy, complicated, real life to the carefully curated, filtered, and edited highlight reels of thousands, even millions, of other people. You know this experience. You're sitting on your couch in your sweatpants, feeling a bit lonely or bored. You open your phone. You see a friend from college on a breathtaking vacation in Italy. You see a colleague who just got a big promotion. You see an influencer with a seemingly perfect body, a perfect house, and a perfect family. Logically, you know this is not the full picture. You know they have bad days too. You know they don't post pictures of themselves arguing with their partner or feeling insecure. But your emotional brain doesn't care about logic. It just sees the gap between your current reality and their presented fantasy. And it interprets that gap as a personal failure. The comparison trap whispers poisonous thoughts into your ear. My life is boring. I'm not successful enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not happy enough. I'm falling behind. Let's consider Maria, a new mother. She loves her baby more than anything in the world, but she is also exhausted. Her body feels foreign to her, and her house is a mess. In a moment of quiet, while the baby sleeps, she opens Instagram. She sees another new mom who seems to have it all figured out. This other mom is posting photos in a clean, minimalist home, wearing stylish clothes that fit perfectly, talking about the wonderful organic meal she just cooked and how her baby is already sleeping through the night. Maria looks around at her own living room, strewn with baby toys and dirty laundry. She looks at her own reflection, tired and wearing a stained t-shirt. The comparison trap is sprung. Her overthinking mind kicks into high gear. Why can't I be like that? Am I a bad mother? Is my baby not developing properly because I can't get him to sleep? I should be doing more. I'm failing at this. She closes the app feeling worse than before she opened it. More anxious, more insecure, and more alone. Social media, which promises connection, has just deepened her sense of isolation and inadequacy. A 2017 study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine found a direct and significant link between high social media usage and increased feelings of social isolation. The more time people spent on these platforms, the more lonely and left out they felt. It is a trap, and it is baiting us with the very connection we crave. The third major architect of chaos is the 24/7 news cycle, just like our social comparison software. Our threat detection software is ancient and outdated for the modern world. In your brain is a small, almond-shaped region called the amygdala. This is your brain's alarm system, your personal smoke detector when our ancestors saw a lion or a rival tribe. The amygdala would fire up, triggering the fight or flight response. It would flood the body with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing it to face the danger. This was essential for survival. The problem is, our amygdala doesn't differentiate between a lion about to eat us and a news story about a potential war on the other side of the world. It just registers threat, and it sounds the alarm. In the past, news of a distant disaster would travel slowly, if at all. Today, we carry a device in our pocket that delivers a constant, unrelenting stream of the worst things happening on planet Earth right now, directly into our brains. We wake up and we read about political scandals. We check our phone at lunch and see footage of a natural disaster before bed. We scroll through stories of economic instability and violence. Every one of these stories is a small poke to our amygdala. It keeps our nervous system in a chronic, low-grade state of fight or flight. We are walking around with the background hum of anxiety. Our bodies tensed and our minds braced for a threat that is not actually present in our immediate environment. This constant state of alert provides the perfect fertile ground for overthinking to grow. When your body is already telling you that you are in danger, your mind will frantically search for what that danger is. It will take the abstract fear from the news and attach it to your personal life. A story about the economy becomes a fear of losing your job. A story about a health crisis becomes a fear that every small cough is a deadly disease. You are trying to live a normal, peaceful life while your alarm system is screaming that the house is on fire. It is utterly exhausting, and it makes finding calm feel impossible. So what do? Do we throw away our phones, move to a cabin in the woods, and renounce society? For most of us, that is not a realistic or desirable option. The goal is not to escape the modern world, but to learn to navigate it with intention and wisdom. The goal is to become the architect of your own calm environment. This is not about willpower, it is about design. You are going to strategically and consciously design your digital world to serve you, not the other way around. Here are the practical, actionable steps to begin building your shelter from the storm. The first and most powerful action is to create a digital sunset. Your brain needs time to wind down before sleep. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. And the constant stream of information keeps your mind activated. The digital sunset is a simple rule. You will put away all screens, your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your television, at least 1 hour before you intend to go to sleep. This is non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth at first. This will feel strange. You will feel a pull, a phantom itch to check your phone. This is the withdrawal from the dopamine slot machine. And it is normal. You must replace the habit with something else. Buy a simple, cheap alarm clock so your phone does not need to be your alarm, and charge your phone overnight in another room, like the kitchen or the living room. During this sacred hour of your digital sunset, you can rediscover the lost arts of offline activity. Read a physical book or magazine. The tactile sensation of paper is calming. Listen to calming music or a podcast, not one that is about news or stressful topics. Do some light stretching. Talk to your partner or family without the distraction of a screen between you. Prepare your things for the next day. Write in a journal, a practice we will discuss later. By creating this screen-free buffer zone before sleep, you are telling your brain that the day is over, the threats are gone, it is safe to rest. This single habit can dramatically improve the quality of your sleep and reduce the late-night overthinking that plagues so many. The second action is to become a digital gardener. Your social media feed is like a garden. Right now, it may be overgrown with weeds, plants that are choking out the sunlight and making you feel bad. It is time to start pulling those weeds. This is not a one-time task, but an ongoing practice. Set aside 30 minutes this week to consciously curate your feeds. Go through your following list on every social media platform you use for each account. Ask yourself a simple, honest question. How do I feel after I see content from this account? Do I feel inspired, happy, educated, and connected? Or do I feel anxious, envious, inadequate, or angry? If the answer is the latter, you have a few options. If it's a close friend, you can use the mute function. This is a wonderfully gentle tool. You remain connected to them, but their posts no longer appear in your feed. You can check in on their profile when you choose to, not when the algorithm decides to show it to you. For influencers, celebrities, or news outlets that consistently make you feel bad, hit the unfollow button. This is not rude. It is an act of mental health hygiene. It is you taking control of the information that enters your mind. You are the sole curator of the museum of your attention. Do not let junk in. Fill your garden with plants that nourish you. Follow accounts that share beautiful art, interesting science, uplifting stories, or funny animals. Design a feed that leaves you feeling better about the world and yourself, not worse. The third action is to disarm the pings. Notifications are the primary weapon of the attention economy. They are a deliberate interruption, designed to pull you out of your current reality and back into their digital world. You must disarm them. Go into your phone's settings and find the notifications menu. Now, go through it, app by app, with ruthless intention. You are going to switch to a philosophy of notifications off by default. For each app, ask, do I need this app to interrupt me at any moment, or can I check it on my own time? The answer for almost every app will be the latter. Turn off all notifications for social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You do not need to know the second someone liked your photo. Turn off notifications for email, unless your job absolutely requires instant responses. Turn off notifications for news apps. You can decide when you want to be informed. Turn off notifications for games and shopping apps. Be ruthless. The only notifications you should consider leaving on are from other human beings trying to reach you directly, such as phone calls and text messages from your contacts. This simple act is profoundly liberating. It puts you back in the driver's seat. Your phone becomes a tool that you choose to use, not a demanding taskmaster that constantly summons you. The silence you create will be startling at first, but it will soon become the peaceful foundation upon which you can build your calm. You will find your ability to focus on a single task for a prolonged period will dramatically increase, because the slot machine is no longer calling out to you every 5 minutes. You are taming the chaos, one notification at a time. You have the power to do this. And it is simpler than you think. You are not a passive consumer of technology. You are its master. And by taking these steps, you are starting to shape an environment that protects your peace instead of stealing it. Chapter 3. The price of a busy mind. What overthinking steals from you before we learn how to build a new home. We must first walk through the old one and take an honest inventory of the damage. We must understand the true cost of living there. This chapter is that inventory. It might feel uncomfortable, but it is a necessary step, because you cannot be motivated to change until you understand the high price you are already paying every single day. Overthinking is not a harmless quirk of your personality. It is not just who you are. It is a thief, and it is a very clever one. It robs you so quietly that you often don't even notice what's missing until years have passed. It steals your energy, your joy, your decisiveness, and even your physical health. It presents you with an invoice for its services, payable in the currency of your life. And today, we are going to read that invoice line by line. We are going to turn on the lights and see the true toll of a mind that never stops. This is not to make you feel bad. It is to make you feel angry. Angry enough to say, no more. angry enough to finally evict this thief from your mind. The first and most crippling price you pay is the tax of decision paralysis, also known as analysis paralysis. This is the state of being so lost in thought about a decision that you become completely incapable of making one. Your mind, in its misguided attempt to find the perfect choice, the one with zero risk and guaranteed success, presents you with an infinite number of variables, potential outcomes, and what-if scenarios. It's like trying to navigate using 1,000 maps at once. The sheer volume of information is overwhelming, and instead of moving forward with clarity, you freeze, completely stuck, unable to take a single step in any direction. This doesn't just happen with big, life-altering decisions. Overthinking trains your brain to apply this same paralyzing process to almost everything. Let's meet David. David is a bright, capable man in his late 20s who wants to start exercising. This seems like a simple goal, but for David's overthinking mind, it's a monumental puzzle. His thought process begins, "Okay, I should join a gym." Immediately, the what-if machine boots up. Which gym? There's the cheap one downtown, but it's probably crowded. The fancy one has a pool, but it's expensive. What if I pay for a year and then stop going? That's a waste of money. Maybe I should exercise at home instead. The new path immediately branches into 1,000 more. What kind of home workout? Should I buy dumbbells, a yoga mat, resistance bands? What if I buy the wrong kind? I should watch some YouTube videos to see which equipment is best. He spends 3 hours watching videos, and now he's more confused than ever. One person says high-intensity interval training is the best, another says heavy lifting, a third says yoga is the key. His mind races. What if I choose the wrong workout and I don't get results? Or worse, what if I injure myself? I should probably research proper form. He spends the next evening looking at diagrams of how to do a proper squat. He gets overwhelmed by the complexity. Maybe running is simpler. The train of thought immediately jumps to a new track. But I need running shoes. What's the best brand? What if I get shoes for the wrong foot type and ruin my knees? I should go to a specialty store to get fitted. But that's intimidating. They'll probably judge me because I'm not a real runner. A week has passed. David has spent hours thinking, researching, and worrying. The total amount of exercise he has done, 0. He is more tired and more stressed than he was when he started, and the simple goal of moving his body feels like climbing Mount Everest. The overthinking mind has taken a simple, positive impulse and turned it into an impossible labyrinth of fear and doubt. David isn't lazy. He is paralyzed. This paralysis scales up to the most important areas of our lives. Consider the career choice, the decision to start a business, or the choice to end an unhappy relationship. The overthinker gets trapped in an endless loop of pros and cons. They make spreadsheets, they talk to everyone they know, they read every book on the subject, but they never actually take the leap. The fear of making the wrong choice is so powerful that it feels safer to make no choice at all. But here is the brutal truth that overthinking hides from you. Making no choice is a choice. It is the choice to remain stuck. It is the choice to let your life be defined by indecision. It is the choice to let your potential wither on the vine while you endlessly analyze the soil. The years pass, the opportunities fade, and you are left with the hollow ache of regret, not for the wrong path you took, but for the paths you never allowed yourself to even start down. You didn't fail. You didn't even try. Overthinking convinced you that standing still was the safest option, when in reality, it was the most certain path to stagnation. Your life is not a math problem to be solved with perfect logic. It is a canvas on which you must be brave enough to make a mark, even if it's not perfect. Decision paralysis steals your paintbrush and convinces you that just staring at the blank canvas is a form of art. It is not. It is a tragedy. The second item on the invoice is perhaps the most heartbreaking. Overthinking is the silent thief of joy. It robs you of the single most precious and non-renewable resource you have, the present moment. Your life is not the collection of your past regrets or your future anxieties. Your life is a string of now moments. It is this breath, this sip of coffee, this conversation with a loved one, this sunset, This is the only place where life actually happens, and overthinking systematically pulls you out of it. It makes you a time traveler who is never in the right time. You are physically present, but your mind is elsewhere, stuck in a courtroom prosecuting a past mistake or in a war room planning for a future catastrophe. You become a ghost in your own life. Think about a time you were at a truly beautiful event, a wedding of a dear friend. You are sitting there. The music is playing, people are laughing. The couple looks radiant and happy. This is a moment of pure joy, a memory to be cherished. But where are you? You are not there. Your body is in the chair, but your mind is replaying a slightly awkward conversation you had during the cocktail hour. Did I talk too much about myself? Did they think I was boring? I should have asked them more questions. I always do this. I'm so bad at small talk. Or maybe your mind has jumped into the future. I have so much work to do on Monday. I hope my boss isn't mad about that report. I need to remember to send that email as soon as I get home. The wedding passes in a blur. You were there, but you missed it. You did not feel the joy. You did not absorb the love. You did not connect with the people around you. You were too busy attending to the noisy chaos in your own head. Overthinking stole that precious, unrepeatable moment from you, and you didn't even realize it was gone until it was too late. This theft happens in 1,000 small ways every day. It happens when you are playing with your child, but you're thinking about your finances. You miss the sound of their laughter because you're listening to the sound of your own worry. It happens when you are sharing a meal with your partner, but you are scrolling through your phone, your mind absorbed in the digital world of comparison and outrage. You miss the opportunity for real connection because you are plugged into a machine of distraction. It happens when you are walking in nature, on a beautiful sunny day, but you are rehearsing an argument you might have tomorrow. You miss the feeling of the sun on your skin and the sound of the birds because you are lost in a negative fantasy. Joy is not a grand event that happens once in a while. It is a quiet presence that is woven into the fabric of ordinary moments. To experience it, you have to be there, you have to show up. Overthinking ensures that you are constantly absent, a tourist in your own life who only sees the pictures later and wonders why you don't remember the feeling. You are paying for the constant hum of anxiety with the vibrant colors of your life. The world is offering you its beauty, and your mind is telling you to look at a spreadsheet of your fears instead. This is too high a price to pay. You deserve to be the main character in your own story, not a background actor who is always thinking about another scene. The third price you pay is one of profound and deep exhaustion. Overthinking is invisible labor, but it is some of the most draining work you will ever do. Think of your brain like a computer's central processing unit, or CPU. Every thought process is a program that it has to run. Simple. Focused tasks are like running a single, well-designed application. It uses some energy, but it's efficient. Overthinking, however, is like opening 200 different programs at once. You have the replay yesterday's mistake program running. You have the worry about next month's bills program running. You have the analyze a vague text message program running in a loop. You have 50 different what-if scenarios, all running in the background. Your brain's CPU is going at 100% capacity, all day long. The fan is whirring, the system is overheating, and it's constantly on the verge of crashing. This is why, at the end of a day where you may have accomplished very little externally, you feel utterly and completely drained. You collapse onto the couch with a unique kind of fatigue, a thought-tired exhaustion that no amount of rest seems to cure. You haven't been digging ditches, but you feel like you've run a marathon. That's because you have. You've run a marathon in your mind, looping around the same track of worry and fear. This mental energy drain has devastating consequences. It leaves you with no cognitive resources left for the things that actually matter. When your partner comes to you with a problem, you don't have the capacity to truly listen and be present for them. Your mind is already too full. When a creative idea for a new project sparks, you don't have the energy to pursue it. The thought of starting something new is just too overwhelming. When you sit down to do important, focused work, your attention span is shot. Your mind, so accustomed to the frantic pace of jumping between worries, can't stay on one task for more than a few minutes. You become less effective, less creative, and less present in every area of your life, because you are spending the vast majority of your precious mental energy on fueling the runaway train. This is a state that psychologists call high cognitive load. It means your working memory is so full of clutter that there is no room for new information. Learning or problem solving, it's like trying to cook a gourmet meal in a kitchen where every single surface is covered in dirty dishes. You can't even find a clear space to chop a vegetable. This is why when you are deep in an overthinking spiral, simple problems can feel impossible to solve. Your problem-solving capacity is offline, hijacked by the noise. You are spending your life's energy not on building, creating, or connecting, but on the pointless, exhausting internal labor of worrying. It is the mental equivalent of pedaling a stationary bike as hard as you can. You are sweating and exhausted, but you have not moved a single inch. You deserve to use your incredible mental energy to power your life forward, not to keep you stuck in the same place. Finally, we come to the most concrete and frightening item on the invoice, the physical toll. Overthinking is not just an experience that happens in your head. It is a physiological event that has real, measurable, and damaging effects on your body. Your mind and body are not separate entities. They are a deeply interconnected system. A thought is not just an abstract idea. It is an electrochemical event that can trigger a cascade of hormones and neurotransmitters throughout your entire body. When your mind perceives a threat, whether it's a real lion or a what-if thought about getting fired, your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, sounds the alarm. This triggers a chain reaction known as the HPA axis, or the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is your body's central stress response system. The hypothalamus signals the pituitary gland, which in turn signals your adrenal glands, located on top of your kidneys, to pump out stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline, in a short-term, real-life emergency. This system is a lifesaver. Adrenaline increases your heart rate and blood pressure, getting more blood to your muscles. Cortisol releases a surge of blood sugar, giving you a quick burst of energy. Your senses sharpen. Your breathing quickens. You are primed to fight the threat or flee from it. This is the fight or flight response, and it's designed to be a short-term solution to an acute problem. But what happens when the threat is not a temporary emergency, but the chronic 24/7 hum of your overthinking mind? What happens when the alarm is never turned off, the HPA axis keeps getting triggered, and your body is marinated in a constant bath of stress hormones? It is never given the signal that it is safe. It never gets to activate its counterbalance, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and digest. You are living in a state of chronic low-grade fight or flight, and this has devastating consequences for your physical health. Chronic high levels of cortisol are incredibly destructive. First, it wreaks havoc on your sleep. Cortisol naturally peaks in the morning to help you wake up and is lowest at night to help you fall asleep. Chronic stress flattens this curve, leaving you feeling tired and wired. You struggle to fall asleep because your body is still on high alert. And when you do sleep, it's often light and unrefreshing because cortisol disrupts the deep, restorative stages of sleep. This lack of quality sleep then makes you more anxious and less resilient the next day, creating a vicious cycle. Second, it suppresses your immune system. Cortisol's job in the short term is to reduce inflammation, but when it's constantly elevated, the body becomes resistant to its effects, leading to increased inflammation throughout the body and a weakened immune response. You find yourself catching every cold that goes around and taking longer to recover. Third, it disrupts your digestion. The rest and digest system is offline, so blood flow is diverted away from your digestive tract. This can lead to a host of problems, from stomach aches and indigestion to more serious conditions like irritable bowel syndrome. Fourth, it contributes to weight gain, particularly around the abdomen. Cortisol increases your appetite, especially for high sugar, high-fat comfort foods, and it tells your body to store fat in the abdominal area. This is not a failure of your willpower. It is a physiological response to chronic stress, your tension headaches, your tight shoulders, your constant stomach unease. These are not just random symptoms. They are distress signals from a body that is being worn down by a mind at war with itself. The science is undeniable. The famous Whitehall studies in the UK followed thousands of British civil servants for decades and found a clear link between chronic work stress and the risk of heart disease. Your thoughts are quite literally shaping your physical health. So let's look at the final invoice: decision paralysis, the theft of joy, profound mental and emotional exhaustion, and the steady deterioration of your physical health. This is the price you are paying. And I ask you again, is it worth it? Has overthinking ever truly solved a problem for you? Or has it just made you feel worse? Has it ever led to a better outcome? Or has it just stolen the present moment? Has it made you more prepared? Or just more tired and sick? You have been paying this exorbitant price for years, without ever consciously agreeing to the transaction. But today, that can change. Today, you see the cost clearly, and with that clarity comes power. The power to say that the price is too high. The power to decide that you are no longer willing to trade your life for the illusion of control. You are ready to stop paying, and you are ready to start living. In the next chapter, we will take our first concrete step away from the chaos and toward the calm. We will learn how to drop an anchor in the storm of the mind. Chapter 4. The Anchor of Now, your first step to calm. We have stared into the heart of the storm. We have tallied the incredible cost that overthinking has exacted from our lives. It is a sobering picture, but it is one that fills us with a powerful and necessary motivation to change. Now, we pivot. We turn from the why to the how. This chapter is your first tool. It is the emergency brake on the runaway train. It is the anchor you can drop in the middle of a churning, chaotic sea of thought. This tool is simple, it is free. It is available to you at any moment, and it is more powerful than you can possibly imagine. This tool is the practice of anchoring yourself in the present moment, a practice often called mindfulness or grounding. But before you roll your eyes or imagine you have to sit in a lotus position for an hour, let's be very clear. We are going to strip away all the mystery, all the cliches, and all the misconceptions. We are going to treat this not as a vague spiritual concept, but as a practical, psychological skill, a form of mental training as concrete as lifting a weight to build a muscle. This is your first step to reclaiming your mind, and it begins right now. First, we must address the great misunderstanding of what mindfulness is for many people. The word mindfulness conjures up an image of trying to force your mind to be completely empty and silent. This is the single biggest myth, and it is the reason why so many people try it once, decide they have failed, and give up. Trying to force your mind to be empty is like trying to force the ocean to be still. It is impossible, and the effort will only create more turbulence. Your brain is a thought-generating machine. That is its job. It will produce thoughts just as surely as your heart will beat. You cannot stop it, and you do not need to. Mindfulness is not about stopping your thoughts. It is about changing your relationship to them. Imagine you are standing on a busy train station platform. Before, you were the person who jumped onto every single train that arrived, getting swept away to its destination of worry, regret, or fear. You believed that you had to board every train. The practice of mindfulness is learning to simply stand on the platform and watch the trains go by. A thought train arrives. Perhaps it's the "you're not good enough" express. You see it, you acknowledge its presence. Oh, there's the train of self-doubt. You notice its color, its sound, its speed. But you do not get on. You let it pull into the station and you let it pull away. You remain on the platform. Another train comes, the what-if disaster bullet train. You notice it too. You feel the wind as it rushes past. But you stay put. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the platform, and the thoughts are just the trains. This shift from being a passenger to being an observer is the entire game. It creates a space between you and your thoughts, and in that space lies your freedom, your peace, and your power. Another helpful analogy is to think of yourself as the sky. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are the weather. Some days, the sky is filled with dark, stormy clouds of anxiety. Other days, there are fluffy white clouds of happiness, Sometimes there is lightning and thunder. Sometimes the sky is perfectly clear and blue. Through all of it, what is the one thing that never changes? The sky itself. The sky does not fight the clouds. It does not try to push the storm away. It simply holds the weather, allowing it to come and go. You are the sky. Your anxiety, your sadness, your overthinking loops, they are just clouds passing through. They are not you. They are temporary weather patterns in the vast, unchanging sky of your awareness. The goal of mindfulness is not to create a permanently sunny day. The goal is to realize that you are the sky, and to learn how to be okay no matter what the weather is. This realization alone can lift a tremendous burden from your shoulders. You don't have to fix every thought. You just have to let it be. So, how do we begin to cultivate this skill of being the observer? We start with something incredibly simple and direct. We start by using the one thing that is always with us in the present moment, our body and its senses. Your mind can travel to the past or the future, but your body can only ever be right here, right now. Therefore, your senses are your direct portal to the present moment. They are the anchor that can stop you from being dragged away by the current of your thoughts. The most powerful and immediate way to do this is through a technique that you can use anywhere. Anytime you feel the storm of overthinking begin to brew, it is called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. It is your emergency brake. And I want to walk you through it right now, not just as a list of instructions, but as a guided experience. So, wherever you are, just take a gentle breath. You don't need to close your eyes. In fact, it's better if you keep them open. We are going to bring your runaway mind back into the room you are in, back into the safety of the present. Let's begin. First, I want you to look around the room and silently name 5 things that you can see. Do not rush this. I don't want you to just list them. I want you to truly see them. For example, you might see a lamp. Don't just think lamp, then notice its shape. Notice the color of the lampshade. Is it white, or is it more of an eggshell or a cream color? Notice how the light catches it. Next, you might see a book. Notice the title on the spine. Notice the exact shade of blue on the cover. Look at the corners. Are they sharp or a little bit worn? Take your time and find 3 more things: a pen, a picture frame, a crack in the ceiling. Really allow your eyes to rest on each object for a moment, connecting you to your physical environment. You are telling your brain, I am here, in this room. I am safe. Now, let's move to the sense of touch. I want you to become aware of 4 things that you can feel. Again, really explore the sensation. You can feel the chair or the couch supporting you. Notice the pressure of it against your back and your legs. Notice its texture. Is it soft fabric or cool leather? You can feel your feet flat on the floor. Notice the sensation of the ground beneath you, solid and stable. Notice the texture of your socks or the coolness of the floor on your bare skin. Perhaps you can feel the fabric of your own clothes against your arms or your legs. Is it soft cotton or rough denim? Notice the weight of it. Find one more thing you can feel. Maybe a slight breeze from a vent, or the smoothness of your phone in your hand. You are anchoring yourself in the physical reality of your body, pulling your attention out of the abstract world of thought. Next, let's tune in to your sense of hearing. I want you to listen carefully and identify 3 things that you can hear. This requires a different kind of attention, a receptive quietness. You might hear the low hum of a refrigerator or a computer. Try to isolate that sound from the others. You might hear the faint sound of traffic outside, or the chirping of a bird. You might even hear the sound of your own breathing. Listen without judgment. These are just sounds. They are part of the symphony of the present moment. You are not trying to block them out. You are simply noticing them, welcoming them as part of your experience right now. Now, let's move to the sense of smell. This can be more subtle. I want you to notice 2 smells in your environment. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Perhaps you can smell the faint scent of coffee from this morning, or the clean scent of laundry detergent on your clothes. Maybe you can smell the scent of the book you were looking at earlier, or the rain on the pavement outside. Even if you don't smell anything strong, just notice the absence of smell, the neutral scent of the air in the room. You are engaging a different part of your brain, one that is ancient and deeply connected to memory and emotion. But right now, we are just using it as an anchor. Finally, the sense of taste. I want you to notice one thing you can taste. This is the most internal of the senses. You can swallow and notice the taste in your mouth. Is it neutral, or can you still taste a hint of your last meal or drink? Maybe you can run your tongue over your teeth and just notice that sensation. It doesn't have to be a strong taste. The point is simply to bring your full attention to the sensation of taste for a single moment. Now, take one more slow, deep breath. How do you feel? You may notice that the volume of the chatter in your head has been turned down, even just a little. The runaway train has slowed, if not stopped completely. Why does this simple exercise work so powerfully? It works because you cannot be fully engaged in your five senses and simultaneously be lost in a spiral of abstract thought about the past or future. Your brain's attention is a finite resource. By intentionally directing your focus to the concrete, sensory information of the present moment, you are literally starving the overthinking part of your brain of the fuel it needs to keep running. You are shifting brain activity from the default mode network, your brain's what-if screensaver, to the task-positive network, the part of your brain that engages with the world directly. You are telling your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, that there is no lion here, there is just a lamp, a chair, and the sound of your own breathing. You are safe. You are here. Now. This 5-4-3-2-1 technique is your emergency tool. It is for those moments of high anxiety when you feel like you are about to be swept away. But we don't just want to play defense. We want to play offense. We want to build the muscle of presence so that we are less likely to get swept away in the first place. This is where the practice of mindful moments comes in. This is about weaving small pockets of awareness into the daily activities you are already doing. It is about transforming mundane routines into opportunities for practice. This is how you make mindfulness a part of your life, not just another thing on your to-do list. Let's start with your morning. For many of us, the first thing we do is grab our phone, starting the day with a dose of news, emails, and social comparison. We are inviting the architects of chaos into our minds before we've even had a chance to wake up properly. Instead, let's try a mindful morning. Let's take one routine you do every single day, like making your morning coffee or tea, and turn it into a 2-minute mindfulness practice. As you make your coffee, engage all of your senses. Listen to the sound of the water filling the machine. Listen to the gurgling sound as it brews. Watch the dark liquid drip into the pot. Notice the rich, dark color. When it's ready, hold the warm mug in your hands. Don't just hold it. Really feel the warmth spreading into your palms. Bring the mug to your nose and take a deep smell of the aroma before you even take a sip. Let that scent fill your awareness. Then, take the first sip and do it slowly. Notice the warmth as it enters your mouth. Notice the taste. Is it bitter? Is it smooth? Is it strong? Just for those 2 minutes. Your entire universe is the experience of that cup of coffee. If your mind wanders to the day ahead, and it will, just gently notice that and bring your attention back to the taste of the coffee in your mouth. You have just started your day, not with stress, but with presence. You have just completed your first bicep curl for your attention muscle. You can apply this principle to almost anything. Let's take showering. Most of us shower on autopilot. Our minds a million miles away, planning the day or replaying a conversation. Tomorrow morning, try having a mindful shower. Feel the sensation of the warm water on your shoulders and back. Listen to the sound it makes as it hits the floor. Notice the scent of the soap or shampoo. Feel the texture of the lather in your hands. You are turning a chore into a sensory experience, a mini retreat. You are practicing being in your body. Let's take eating. We often eat while watching TV, scrolling on our phones, or working at our desks. We barely taste our food. It's just fuel. Tonight, try eating the first 3 bites of your dinner mindfully. Before you take the first bite, just look at your food. Notice the colors, the shapes, the textures on your plate. Take the first bite and put your fork down. Just chew. Chew slowly and try to identify all the different flavors. Is it salty, sweet, savory, spicy? Notice the texture. Is it crunchy, soft, chewy? Do this for just 3 bites before you continue your meal as normal. you are not only practicing mindfulness, you are also reconnecting with your body's signals of hunger and fullness, which can have profound benefits for your physical health. Let's take walking. Whether you're walking to your car, walking the dog, or just walking from one room to another, you can turn it into a mindful moment for 30 seconds. Just feel your feet. Notice the sensation of your heel striking the ground, rolling to the ball of your foot, and pushing off. Feel the rhythm of your steps, one after the other. Feel the air on your skin. Notice the movement in your arms. You are grounding yourself in the physical reality of your body moving through space. It is a simple, powerful way to get out of your head and into your body. These mindful moments may seem small, almost insignificant, but they are the foundation of your practice. Every time you consciously bring your attention back to the present moment, you are performing a revolutionary act. You are taking back your focus from the thieves of anxiety and distraction. You are making a choice. You are choosing to inhabit your own life. And just like physical exercise, the effects are cumulative. You wouldn't expect to have a six-pack after one sit-up, and you shouldn't expect to have a permanently calm mind after one mindful moment. But with consistent practice, you are literally rewiring your brain. This is a concept called neuroplasticity, which simply means that your brain is not fixed. It changes based on your experiences and what you pay attention to. Every time you redirect your focus from your anxious thoughts to your senses, you are strengthening the neural pathways of attention and weakening the default pathways of overthinking. You are carving new rivers for your thoughts to flow in. Over time, it becomes easier and more natural to stay present. Your baseline level of anxiety begins to drop. You become the master of your attention, not its servant. One of the most important things to remember on this journey is self-compassion. Your mind will wander a lot. That is what minds do. The moment you notice your mind has wandered off into thought is not a moment of failure, it is a moment of success. That moment of noticing is a moment of pure mindfulness. The goal is not to have a mind that never wanders. The goal is to notice when it wanders and to gently, kindly, and without judgment, guide it back to your anchor. Whether that's your breath, your senses, or the taste of your coffee, every time you guide it back, you are strengthening that muscle. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to a small puppy you're trying to train. You would never yell at the puppy for getting distracted. You would just gently pat its head and guide it back. Treat your own mind with that same gentle patience. You now have a tool, a powerful anchor in the form of your own senses. You have your emergency brake, the 5-4-3-2-1 technique, for when the storm is raging, and you have your daily training program, the practice of mindful moments, to build your resilience over time. You don't need to find extra time in your day. You just need to bring a new quality of attention to the things you are already doing. This is your first and most fundamental step to finding calm in a world of chaos. You are learning to come home to yourself, to the only moment that ever truly exists, the present moment. And in this moment, you are whole, you are safe, and you are free. Chapter 5. From Thinker to Doer. The Power of Imperfect Action. We have spent time now sitting in the quiet, learning to anchor ourselves in the present moment. We have practiced watching the chaotic trains of thought come and go without feeling compelled to jump aboard everyone. This is a monumental skill. It is the foundation of peace. It is the act of reclaiming the territory of your own mind. But a foundation is meant to be built upon. Peace is not a passive state. It is an active one. It is not just about finding stillness. It is about learning to move through the world from a place of that stillness. The greatest antidote to the paralysis of overthinking is not more thinking. It is not a better plan or a more detailed analysis. The ultimate antidote, the one thing that cuts through the fog of worry like a beam of sunlight, is action. This chapter is about getting up off the meditation cushion and taking a step. It is about closing the book of pros and cons and starting to write the first sentence of your own story. It is about transforming yourself from a professional thinker into an amateur doer, because it is in the doing, not the thinking, that life is truly lived. Imagine your life is a car, and for years, you've been stuck in a patch of thick, deep mud. Your overthinking mind has been in the driver's seat, and its only solution has been to press the accelerator harder and harder. The engine screams, the wheels spin frantically, mud flies everywhere, and an immense amount of energy is expended. The noise is deafening, the smoke is thick. But the car doesn't move an inch. In fact, with every spin of the wheels, it digs itself a little deeper into the rut. This is the state of analysis paralysis. You are spending all your energy on the internal process of thinking, believing that if you just spin the wheels fast enough, you will magically find traction, but you won't. The solution to being stuck in the mud is never to spin your wheels faster. The solution is to get out of the car, to stop the engine, and to do something different. The solution is to find a solid object, a piece of wood, a flat rock, and to wedge it under the tire. The solution is to take a small physical, tangible action in the real world. That small action is what provides the traction. It allows the wheel to grip onto something real, and with a gentle press of the accelerator, the car lurches forward, out of the rut. That small, imperfect, physical action achieved what 1,000 hours of frantic, powerful wheel spinning could not. This chapter is your piece of wood. It is your flat rock. It is a collection of strategies designed to get you out of the car of your mind and into the world, to stop the spinning and to start moving. We have been conditioned to believe a great lie. The lie is that we must first have perfect clarity before we can take action. We believe we must have the entire journey mapped out, with every turn and every potential roadblock identified, before we can take the first step. We think that confidence is something we must acquire before we begin. Like packing a suitcase for a trip, we wait for the feeling of certainty to arrive, and while we wait, our lives pass us by. But the truth, the secret that every person who has ever created anything or achieved anything knows, is that this is completely backward. Clarity is not the predecessor to action. Clarity is the child of action. Confidence is not a prerequisite for starting. Confidence is the reward for starting. You do not think your way into a new way of living. You live your way into a new way of thinking. Action is the great clarifier. It is the ultimate teacher, because it provides you with something that no amount of thinking ever can. Real-world data. Let's explore this myth of perfect clarity. We believe that our minds are a perfect laboratory where we can simulate reality. We think we can sit in our armchair and game out all the possibilities of a career change, a new relationship, or a creative project, and arrive at the perfect strategy. But our minds are not a perfect laboratory. They are a biased and flawed funhouse hall of mirrors. The data we use in our mental simulations is not objective reality. It is a collection of our past experiences, our fears, our insecurities, and our limiting beliefs. So when we try to figure it out in our heads, we are not exploring the actual landscape of reality. We are exploring the landscape of our own anxieties. The result is that our simulations almost always end in disaster, because our fear is the lead scientist in the lab. It tells us that we will fail, that we will be judged, that we will be embarrassed, and so we conclude that the risk is too great. And we decide that the safest course of action is to do nothing, to stay in the car and keep spinning the wheels, because at least the rut is familiar. Action shatters this illusion. The moment you take one small step in the real world, you are flooded with new, unbiased information. You get feedback that is not filtered through your own fear. You learn what actually works and what doesn't, not what you were afraid might work or not. Let me tell you the story of a woman named Clara. Clara worked as an accountant, a job she found stable and respectable, but profoundly soul-crushing. For years, her secret dream was to open a small bakery. She loved the idea of it, the smell of fresh bread, the warmth of the oven, the joy on people's faces. But this dream lived entirely in her head. And in her head, it was a terrifying monster of risk. Her overthinking mind went to work. She spent months, then years, in the thinking phase. She bought every book on starting a small business. She filled notebooks with financial projections. She researched commercial real estate prices. She analyzed the demographics of her town. She thought about names for the bakery. She thought about the logo. She thought about the exact shade of blue for the walls. But her primary mental activity was creating a library of failure scenarios. What if her bread wasn't good enough? What if nobody came? What if a big chain bakery opened up down the street? What if she invested all her savings and lost everything? What if she had to go crawling back to her old accounting firm? Filled with shame, these thoughts were so vivid and so terrifying that they kept her completely paralyzed. She felt that she needed to solve all of these potential problems in her head before she could even dare to buy a bag of flour. Her dream was a source of constant anxiety, not joy. One day, after talking to a friend, she was given a simple piece of advice: just bake one loaf of bread. It seemed so ridiculously small compared to the monumental task of opening a bakery, but something about its simplicity cut through her paralysis. She decided to try it, not as the first step to her business, but just as a data-gathering experiment. That Saturday, she went to the store and bought flour, yeast, salt, and water. She came home and followed a simple recipe she found online. The process was a mess. The dough was stickier than she imagined, and it got all over her hands and the counter. She kneaded it for what felt like an eternity, her arms aching. She let it rise, but she wasn't sure if it was rising enough. Finally, she put it in the oven, and 20 minutes later, the smoke alarm went off. She pulled out a loaf of bread that was charred black on the outside and still raw and gummy on the inside. It was a complete and total failure. She had not produced a delicious artisan loaf. She had produced a small, black brick. And in that moment, something miraculous happened. She started to laugh. In all her years of thinking, of simulating, of worrying, she had never once simulated this specific outcome. This was real data, and this data was infinitely more valuable than all her spreadsheets and projections. What did she learn from this one? Imperfect action. She learned that the recipe she chose was not a good one for a beginner. She learned that her oven had hot spots and probably ran hotter than the temperature dial indicated. She learned that she actually enjoyed the physical sensation of kneading dough, even though she was bad at it. She learned that the smell of baking bread, even burning bread, made her feel happy and alive. And most importantly, she learned that failure was not a catastrophic, shame-filled event. It was just information. It was a funny story. The black brick of bread was not a verdict on her worth as a person. It was a data point. It told her what to try differently next time. This one small action broke the spell of her paralysis. It moved the dream out of the fantasy world of her head, where it was perfect and terrifying, and into the real world, where it was messy, imperfect, and achievable. She didn't quit her job the next day, but the next weekend. She tried again, with a different recipe and a lower oven temperature. The loaf was better, and the weekend after that, it was better still. She started giving bread to her friends and neighbors. She got more feedback, more data. People loved it. They asked if they could buy it from her. She started a small Instagram account to post pictures of her bread, and it grew a small following. Each step was small, each action imperfect, but each one provided new information and a small dose of confidence. The action created clarity. It showed her the next logical step. The monumental, terrifying dream of opening a bakery was replaced by the simple, actionable reality of baking the next loaf and selling it to the nice lady down the street. Action is the cure. It is the only thing that turns the imaginary monsters of your mind into manageable, real-world problems. So I ask you, where are you stuck? What is the dream or goal that you have kept locked in the prison of your mind? What is the one small imperfect action you can take this week? Not to succeed, but simply to gather data. If you want to be a writer, your action is not to write a novel, it is to write one single page. Even if it's terrible, if you want to be healthier, your action is not to commit to a punishing diet and exercise regime. It is to go for a 10-minute walk or to add one vegetable to your dinner tonight. If you want to start a new business, your action is not to write a 50-page business plan. It is to have one conversation with a potential customer. The goal is to get out of the car, stop spinning your wheels in the mud of your mind, and place one small, solid piece of reality under the tire. I promise you, it will give you the traction you need to move forward. Now, this idea of taking action can still feel overwhelming. especially when our overthinking has drained us of all our energy. The list of things we should be doing can feel like a mountain, so we look at the peak and decide it's easier to just stay at the bottom. This is where we introduce a secret weapon in the fight against paralysis. A tool so simple, it sounds almost insulting, but so effective it can change the entire trajectory of your day. It is called the 2-minute rule. The rule is this: if you see a task that you know you need to do, and you estimate that it can be completed in 2 minutes or less, you do it immediately. You do not write it down. You do not schedule it for later. You do not think about it. You just do it. This is not a productivity hack designed to turn you into a hyper-efficient robot. This is a psychological tool designed to break the habit of procrastination and build the momentum of action. The magic of the 2-minute rule is that it bypasses the overthinking mind entirely. A task that takes 2 minutes is too small for your mind to build a case against. It's too small to generate a list of what-ifs. It's too small to be intimidating. By completing it immediately, you are robbing your overthinking mind of the opportunity to turn a molehill into a mountain. Let's look at how this works. You finish your breakfast and you place your dirty plate on the counter. The old you, the overthinker, might leave it there. You think, I'll wash it later when I do the rest of the dishes. But that one plate becomes a source of low-grade mental noise. Every time you walk through the kitchen, you see it. It's a tiny visual reminder of a task left undone, a small item on your mental to-do list that is taking up a sliver of your cognitive bandwidth. But with the 2-minute rule, you finish your breakfast, you walk to the sink, and you wash the plate. It takes 60 seconds, and then it's done. The loop is closed, the mental noise is gone. You have just scored a tiny victory for the forces of action and calm. These small victories are the key. They create momentum. Think of Newton's first law of motion. An object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion. Overthinking keeps you in a state of rest, of inertia. Each 2-minute action is a small push that starts to get you moving. And once you are in motion, it is so much easier to stay in motion. Let's walk through a day and see the power of this in action. You wake up. Instead of lying in bed scrolling on your phone, you use the 2-minute rule. You get up and make your bed. It takes 90 seconds. Your room instantly looks more orderly, which sends a signal of calm to your brain. You've been in motion for less than 2 minutes, and you have already accomplished your first task of the day. You go to the kitchen to make coffee, and you see some crumbs on the counter from last night. It would take 30 seconds to wipe them up. You do it. Another victory. Another closed loop. You sit down to check your email and you see a message from your friend asking if you're free next week. In the past, you might leave this to fester. You'd think, I need to check my calendar. I need to think about what day is best. I'm not sure what my energy levels will be like. This simple email would become a task. But now, you apply the rule. You open your calendar. You see you're free on Wednesday. You reply, Wednesday sounds great. Does 7 p.m. work for you? It takes 1 minute. The task is done. The mental load is gone. This practice starts to cascade. Each small action builds a little bit of energy and confidence instead of draining it. Putting away the coat that's been lying on a chair, taking out the recycling that's full, sending that one text message you've been avoiding, putting one book back on the bookshelf. Each one is a rep, a bicep curl for your doer muscle. And as that muscle gets stronger, you will find that you have more energy and motivation to tackle the bigger things, the 5-minute tasks, the 10-minute tasks, and eventually the big projects. You are retraining your brain to associate a task not with dread and overwhelm, but with the small satisfying hit of accomplishment that comes from getting it done. You are changing your identity from I am a person who thinks about doing things to I am a person who does things. This is a profound shift, and it starts with washing one single dish. I challenge you to try this for 1 day. Make it a game. Become a 2-minute ninja. Look for every opportunity to close a loop, to complete a small action. Do not focus on the mountain of things you have to do. Just focus on the very next pebble you can move in under 2 minutes. You will be amazed at how much lighter you feel. The constant background hum of unfinished business begins to fade. And in its place, a quiet hum of momentum begins to build. you are taking back control, not by thinking harder, but by acting sooner. This leads us to the biggest monster that keeps us in the prison of thought, the tyrant that stands guard at the gates of action. This monster's name is perfectionism, and we need to be very clear about what perfectionism is. Perfectionism is not the same as having high standards or striving for excellence. Striving for excellence is healthy. It is motivating. It pulls you forward. Perfectionism is not healthy. It is a shield. It is a heavy, suffocating suit of armor that you wear to protect yourself from the perceived threats of failure, judgment, and shame. It is a fear-based strategy. The perfectionist's core belief is this: if I can just do it perfectly, if I can look perfect, act perfect, and live perfect, I can avoid the pain of being criticized, being rejected, or feeling like I am not good enough. It is a desperate attempt to control other people's perceptions. And it is the ultimate fuel for overthinking, because the mind can always find one more flaw to fix, one more detail to polish, one more way that you might fall short of the impossible standard of perfect. Let's visit the studio of an artist named Julian. Julian is incredibly talented, but he has almost nothing to show for it. His studio is filled with dozens of canvases, all in a state of near completion. He has a beautiful landscape painting that is 99% done, but he has been staring at it for 6 months, convinced that the color of one single cloud in the corner is not quite right. He spends hours thinking about it. Mixing tiny variations of gray on his palette, he adds a dab of paint, then immediately wipes it off, convinced it was the wrong choice. His overthinking mind tells him, if this cloud is not perfect, the whole painting is a failure, and if the painting is a failure, then you are a failure. So the painting sits there, gathering dust. Its beauty held hostage by the fear of one imperfect cloud. In the meantime, his friend Maria, who is arguably less technically skilled than Julian, has completed and sold 20 paintings. Her paintings are not perfect, some have flaws, but she finishes them. She puts them out into the world. She learns from the feedback, and she starts the next one. With each finished painting, she gets a little better, a little more confident. Julian is waiting for perfection to strike. Maria is creating progress. Who is the real artist? The one who hoards his almost perfect work in the dark, or the one who bravely shares her imperfect work with the world? We are all Julian in some area of our life. We have the half-written report that we keep polishing instead of submitting. We have the business idea that we keep refining in a notebook instead of testing in the real world. We have the apology we want to make, but we can't find the perfect words. Perfectionism convinces us that the gap between our current state and the perfect ideal is a sign that we are not ready. But the truth is, you will never be ready. The conditions will never be perfect. The time will never be just right. The only way to bridge the gap is to start imperfectly. We must kill perfectionism, and we kill it by embracing the most liberating phrase in the English language: good enough. Good enough is not a sign of laziness or low standards. It is a declaration of freedom. It is the permission slip you need to finish something and move on. It is the understanding that progress is more valuable than perfection. Let's practice using it. You've cooked a meal for your family, and it's a little overcooked. Instead of spiraling into self-criticism, you say, "It's not perfect, but it's a hot meal that I made for the people I love. It is good enough." You've written a report for work. You could probably spend another 5 hours tweaking the formatting and rewording sentences. Instead, you read it over one last time. You see that it meets all the requirements, and you say, "This clearly communicates the necessary information. It is good enough." You hit send. You've cleaned your house. It's not clean enough for a magazine photo shoot. There are still some dust bunnies under the couch, but the clutter is gone and the surfaces are wiped. You look around and say, "This is a calm and functional space for me to live in. It is good enough." Embracing good enough allows you to become a finisher, and finishers are the ones who learn, grow, and succeed. They operate on a principle from the world of software development known as the minimum viable product, or MVP. The idea is to get the simplest possible version of your product into the hands of real users as quickly as possible. This allows you to get real-world feedback and learn what people actually want. instead of spending years building a perfect product in a vacuum that nobody ends up needing. We can apply this to our lives. What is the minimum viable workout? It's not a perfect 2-hour gym session, it's a 10-minute walk. What is the minimum viable creative project? It's not a flawless masterpiece, it's one finished page, one finished song, one finished painting. What is the minimum viable healthy meal? It's not a complicated organic recipe, it's adding a salad to the pizza you were going to eat anyway. Lower the bar for what counts as a win. Let good enough be your new standard for success. Because a good enough that is finished and real is infinitely more valuable than a perfect that exists only in your imagination. Finally, we must confront the deep fear that underpins all of this paralysis, the fear of making the wrong choice. This fear can be so powerful that it keeps us standing at a crossroads for years, terrified to step down any path for fear that it is not the right one. Our overthinking mind presents every decision as a monumental, life or death moment with permanent consequences. But this is another illusion, another distortion from the funhouse mirror of our fear. The vast majority of our decisions in life are not permanent. They are not one-way doors. Let's borrow a mental model from the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos. He talks about two types of decisions, type 1 and type 2. A type 1 decision is a one-way door. It is highly consequential and very difficult or impossible to reverse. Deciding to have a child is a type 1 decision. These decisions should be made slowly, carefully, and deliberately. But the vast majority of our decisions are type 2 decisions. They are two-way doors. You can walk through them. And if you don't like what you find on the other side, you can walk right back out. They are reversible. Taking a new job is a type 2 decision. If you hate it, you can look for another one. Moving to a new city is a type 2 decision. If it's not for you, you can move back. Trying a new hobby, buying a new shirt, choosing a restaurant for dinner, ending a toxic friendship, starting a small side project, these are all type 2 decisions. The problem is that our overthinking. Perfectionist minds treat almost every single decision as a type 1 decision. We agonize over which brand of blender to buy as if it were a lifelong commitment. We debate what to major in at college as if it will permanently seal our career fate for the next 50 years. This is what creates the paralysis. We are terrified of walking through a door that we mistakenly believe will lock behind us forever. The key to breaking this paralysis is to get better at identifying the two-way doors. Before you make a decision that you are agonizing over, ask yourself this simple question. How reversible is this? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is as reversible as ordering a different meal and 10 is as irreversible as having a child, where does this decision fall? Then, get specific. What would be the actual practical steps I would need to take to reverse this decision? What would be the real cost in time, money, and energy? When you do this, you bring the fear out of the realm of vague catastrophe and into the light of practical reality. You will find that 99% of your decisions are a 5 or below on the irreversibility scale. You will see that the wrong choice is not a life sentence. It is simply a detour. It is a learning experience. It is a new data point that will inform your next choice. There is no such thing as a wasted choice, as long as you learn from it. The only truly wasted choice is the choice to stand still, to let fear make your decisions for you, to let the best years of your life slip away while you stand paralyzed at a crossroads, staring at 1,000 maps that all lead somewhere. The time for thinking is over. The time for analyzing has passed. You have all the information you are ever going to get from the confines of your own mind. The rest of the answers are out there, in the world, waiting for you to discover them through action. Your life is calling to you. It is asking you to get out of the car, to put down the maps, to take one small, brave, imperfect step. You are a doer. You are an experimenter. You are a creator. You just have to start. Choose progress over perfection. Choose action over anxiety. Choose to live your life, not just think about it. Take the step, the path will appear. Chapter 6. Naming your demons. Befriending your anxious thoughts. We have learned to drop the anchor of the present moment, to pull our minds out of the churning sea of anxiety and back to the solid ground of our senses. We have learned to break the spell of paralysis by taking small, imperfect actions, transforming ourselves from thinkers into doers. These are the external strategies, the physical things we can do to change our state and move our lives forward. But what about the internal world? What do we do when, despite our best efforts, the thoughts themselves are just too loud, too sticky, too convincing? What do we do when the storm is not on the horizon, but inside our own head? This chapter is about turning inward and facing the thoughts themselves, but we are not going to do this by fighting them, by wrestling them into submission, or by trying to banish them. We have tried that, and we know it doesn't work. Fighting with your thoughts is like wrestling with a ghost. You will only exhaust yourself. Instead, we are going to learn a new way, a way that is radical, gentle, and profoundly effective. We are going to learn to befriend our anxious thoughts. We are going to learn their names, understand their patterns, and change our relationship with them from one of fearful opposition to one of curious observation. This is not about liking your anxious thoughts. It is about taking away their power over you. It is about realizing that they are not a direct reflection of reality, nor are they commands that you must obey. They are simply events in the mind, old habits of thinking that can be noticed, named, and allowed to pass by. This is the art of cognitive diffusion, the art of unhooking yourself from your mind, and it is the key to true mental freedom. You are about to become a student of your own mind, not its victim. You are about to learn the language of your demons so that you can finally see they are not demons at all, but just tired old storytellers, telling the same scary stories over and over again. The single most important and life-changing realization you can ever have is this: you are not your thoughts. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of your thoughts. This is a subtle distinction, but it is the difference between being caught in a torrential river and standing safely on the bank. Watching the water flow by for most of our lives, we are fused with our thoughts. We believe that we are them. If a thought comes into your mind that says, "I am a failure," you don't experience it as a thought, you experience it as a fundamental truth about who you are. Your mood plummets, your body slumps, your energy drains away. You have fused with the thought. It has become your reality. This is what it means to be hooked. The thought is the hook, and your unquestioning belief in it is what allows it to sink into you and drag you under. Cognitive diffusion is the process of learning to unhook. It is the practice of creating a space between you and your thoughts so that you can see them for what they are: a string of words, a collection of images, a memory, a sensation. They are internal events, not external realities. Let's go back to our train platform analogy. Fusion is being on the train, believing you are the train, and being completely carried away by its journey. Diffusion is standing on the platform, watching the train come and go. You can see the train clearly. You can read the destination board that says failure or anxiety, but you know that you are the platform, stable, still, and separate from the train's frantic journey. How do we start to practice this? We start with simple but powerful linguistic tricks that insert a space between the thought and our sense of self. One of the most basic and effective techniques is to preface any difficult thought with the simple phrase, "I am having the thought that, bah." Let's see how this works. The thought appears in your mind, hot and sharp. "I am going to fail this presentation." This is a fused thought. It feels like a fact. Now, let's apply the technique. You say to yourself, either silently or out loud, "I am having the thought that I am going to fail this presentation." Can you feel the difference? It is a small shift in language, but a seismic shift in perspective. The thought is no longer a statement about reality. It is an observation of a mental event. "I am going to fail" is a verdict. "I am having the thought that I am going to fail" is a weather report. It acknowledges the presence of a storm cloud without identifying you as the storm. Let's try it with a few other common difficult thoughts. The thought arrives: "I am worthless." Fusion feels like a punch to the gut. Now, defuse it. "I'm having the thought that I am worthless." Notice the space that opens up. You are the one having the thought. You are not the thought itself. In that space, you can get curious. Isn't that interesting? My mind just produced the thought, I am worthless. I wonder why it did that. The thought arrives. Something terrible is going to happen. This is a classic anxiety thought. It feels urgent and true. Now diffuse it. I'm noticing that my mind is telling me a story about something terrible happening. By calling it a story, you are further separating from it. You are acknowledging that your mind is a storyteller, and right now, it has chosen to tell a horror story. You don't have to believe the story is true. You can just recognize it as a story. There are many variations of this technique, and I encourage you to play with them and find which ones resonate most with you. Another powerful one is to thank your mind. This sounds strange, but it is a way of relating to your mind with a sense of gentle, amused patience. Like you would with an overprotective and slightly clueless friend, your mind's job is to protect you from threats, and it is constantly scanning for danger. It is just not very good at distinguishing between real threats and imaginary ones. So when a worried thought pops up, instead of fighting it, you can say, "Thank you, mind. Thanks for trying to keep me safe. I appreciate you looking out for me, but I've got this one covered." For example, you're about to walk into a party, and the thought arrives. No one is going to talk to you, and you're going to stand in the corner all night looking awkward. Instead of letting that thought paralyze you, you can respond internally. Thank you, mind, for that helpful prediction. I appreciate the warning about potential awkwardness. I'll take it from here. This little bit of humor and kindness takes all the fearful energy out of the thought. It transforms your relationship with your mind from an adversarial one to a cooperative one. You are the wise leader, and your mind is your well-meaning but anxious assistant for thoughts that are particularly persistent and absurd. You can use a technique that reveals their true nature as just sounds and words. You can take the core of a painful thought and say it out loud, over and over again, very quickly, for about a minute. Let's say the thought is, "I'm a loser." Just say the word loser over and over again. Loser, 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 loser. After about 30 seconds, something strange happens. The word loses all its meaning. It stops being a powerful, emotionally charged insult, and it becomes just a weird noise, a collection of syllables. This is called semantic satiation, and it is a powerful way to demonstrate to yourself that the power of a thought lies not in the thought itself, but in the meaning and belief you attach to it. You can also try singing your anxious thought. Take the thought, "I'm going to be alone forever," and sing it to the tune of "Happy Birthday" or "Row, row, row your boat." It is impossible to sing "I'm going to be alone forever" in a cheerful tune and still take it 100% seriously. This is not about mocking your pain. It is about using humor and absurdity to break the hypnotic trance of the thought and to see it for the ridiculous, powerless thing it often is. Another beautiful and gentle technique is to visualize your thoughts as objects in nature. This taps into the "you are the sky, not the weather" metaphor. When a difficult thought or feeling arises, you can close your eyes for a moment and imagine you are sitting by a gently flowing stream. You can see leaves floating by on the surface of the water. Now take the thought that is bothering you and place it on one of those leaves. If it's a thought in words, see the words written on the leaf. If it's an image, place the image on the leaf, and then just watch as the leaf gently enters the stream, floats in front of you, and then slowly drifts away downriver until it is out of sight. Another thought will come. Place it on another leaf and watch it go. You are not pushing the leaves. You are not trying to change the speed of the river. You are simply sitting on the bank, allowing the stream of your consciousness to flow by without getting swept away in it. Some leaves will be big and ugly. Some will be small and quick. Your job is not to judge the leaves, but simply to practice letting them go. These diffusion techniques are skills, and they require practice. The goal is to build a toolbox of these methods so that when a difficult thought hooks you, you have a variety of ways to gently unhook yourself. You are building mental flexibility. The more you practice, the quicker you will become at noticing when you are fused with a thought, and the easier it will be to create that life-saving space. You are learning that just because a thought shows up in your head, it does not mean you have to serve it tea. You can acknowledge its presence, nod politely, and let it go on its way. Now we are going to take this practice a step further. We are going to move from diffusing individual thoughts to identifying and naming the recurring characters in our mental drama. This is the practice of creating a rogues gallery of your most common and troublesome thought patterns, or what I like to call your demons. The purpose of naming your demons is not to give them more power, but to make them familiar, predictable, and therefore less scary. When a monster has a name, and you know its habits, it ceases to be a terrifying, unknown entity lurking in the dark. It becomes a familiar, if annoying, character that you can learn to manage. As the old saying goes, better the devil you know. So let's become thought detectives. I want you to take out a piece of paper or open a new note on your phone. We are going to do an exercise for the next few minutes. I want you to think about the most common negative stories your mind tells you. What are the recurring themes of your anxiety, your sadness, or your self-criticism? Don't judge them, just observe them. What are your top 3 to 5 greatest hits of negative thinking? Maybe one of your patterns is constantly comparing yourself to others and finding yourself lacking. Maybe another is a tendency to predict the absolute worst-case scenario in any situation. Perhaps you have a harsh inner critic that constantly judges everything you do. Or maybe you have a ruminating pattern that loves to replay past mistakes and embarrassments on a loop. Just take a moment and identify your most frequent visitors now that you have your list. We are going to give each of these patterns a name. And the key here is to give them a name that is both accurate and slightly humorous or playful. The humor is a crucial ingredient in diffusion. It creates distance and lightens the mood. For example, if you have a harsh inner critic, don't just call it the inner critic. That's too generic and serious. Get creative. Maybe you call it Judge Judy, or the Perfection Police, or Sergeant Scream. If you have a pattern of catastrophic thinking, you could call it the What-If Catastrophe Show, or Disaster Dave, or the Doomsday Channel. If you have a pattern of replaying old mistakes, you could call it the Regret-O-Rama, or the Cringe Channel, or yesterday's blunder broadcast. Take some time and give your own personal thought patterns a creative, memorable name. Write them down. This is your personal rogues gallery. Let's see how this works in practice. Let's go back to Sarah, who we met in an earlier chapter. She's about to give a presentation at work, and she feels that familiar knot of anxiety in her stomach. The thoughts begin to fly. You're not prepared enough. You're going to forget what to say. Everyone will see that you're an imposter. In the past, Sarah would have fused with these thoughts and spiraled into a panic. But now, she has her rogues gallery. She takes a breath and she recognizes the familiar flavor of this thinking. She thinks to herself, okay, I see what's happening. The Imposter Syndrome Radio Hour has just started its morning broadcast. It's right on schedule. Can you feel the shift? By naming the pattern, she has externalized it. It is no longer her. It is a radio show that her mind is playing. She can even talk back to it with a bit of humor. Thanks for the programming, but I'm a bit busy right now. I'll tune in later if I have time. The panic subsides, replaced by a sense of wry recognition. The demon has lost its terrifying power because she has named it, and she knows its game. Let's take another example. Mark is lying in bed at night, and his mind starts to replay an awkward comment he made at a party last week. He feels a hot flush of shame. In the past, he would have tossed and turned for hours, stuck in this loop. But now, he recognizes the pattern. He thinks, and here we go, it's a late-night special on the Cringe Channel, a rerun of the dumb thing Mark said. He can almost smile in the dark by naming it. He sees how repetitive and predictable it is. He's seen this episode 100 times before, and he knows how it ends. It just fades out with him feeling tired, so he can choose not to watch it so intently. He can say, okay, channel, I know this one by heart. I'm going to change the station. And then he can deliberately turn his attention to the feeling of his breath or the weight of the blanket on him. He has used the name to unhook himself from the storyline. Your rogues gallery is a powerful tool for self-awareness. Start using it today. When you feel a wave of negative emotion, get curious. Ask yourself, which one of my familiar characters is on stage right now? Is this Judge Judy giving her verdict? Is this Disaster Dave predicting the apocalypse? Is this the cringe channel showing a rerun? Name it to tame it. The moment you recognize the pattern and give it its name, you are no longer the actor in the drama. You are the audience, and from the audience, you have the power to see the play for what it is, a performance, not reality. We have learned to unhook from thoughts and to name our patterns. Now we will learn a strategy for managing the persistent worries that seem to demand our attention. This addresses the feeling that if we don't worry about a problem, we are being irresponsible. This is where we introduce a containment strategy called the worry window. The logic behind the worry window is based on a well-known psychological phenomenon. The paradox of thought suppression, if I tell you, whatever you do, do not think about a pink elephant. What is the first thing you think about? A pink elephant. Of course, trying to forcibly push a thought out of your mind is a surefire way to make it stronger and more persistent. The worry window works with this principle, not against it. It does not tell you to stop worrying. It tells you to schedule your worrying, to give it a designated time and place, thereby freeing up the rest of your day. Here is how you create and use your own worry window. It is a structured practice, and I want you to follow the steps precisely. First, you need to schedule your appointment with worry. Choose a specific 15 or 20-minute time slot that will be your worry window each day, for example. From 5 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. It is very important that you do not schedule this too close to your bedtime, as you don't want to stir up anxiety right before you try to sleep. The late afternoon is often a good time. Put this appointment in your calendar as if it were a real meeting. 5 p.m. Worry time. Second, throughout your day, from the moment you wake up until your scheduled appointment, you are going to practice worry postponement. When a worried thought enters your mind, you are not going to ignore it or fight it. You are going to acknowledge it and then defer it. Let's say you are at work and the thought comes, what if I get laid off in the next round of cuts? You will pause, take a breath, and say to yourself, that is a legitimate concern and it deserves my full attention. I will worry about that at 5 p.m. You should have a small notebook or a note on your phone titled Worry List, and you simply write the worry down. Possibility of being laid off. Then you gently but firmly redirect your attention back to the task at hand. You have not suppressed the thought. You have validated it and scheduled it. You have told your anxious mind, I hear you, and we will deal with this later. Third, you must honor the appointment. This is crucial. When 5 p.m. arrives, you must stop what you are doing. Go to a designated spot, take out your worry list, and for the next 15 minutes, you worry, you do nothing else. No distractions, no trying to cheer yourself up. You give yourself full permission to immerse yourself in the worries on your list. Go through them one by one. Let yourself feel the anxiety. Think about the worst-case scenarios. If there is a worry on your list that you can actually do something about, you can use the time to brainstorm one concrete, actionable step. For example, for the laid-off worry. A concrete step might be, spend 15 minutes tomorrow updating my resume. But for the worries that are out of your control, your only job is to worry about them, fully and completely. Fourth, and this is just as crucial, when your timer for 15 minutes goes off, you must stop. You close the notebook, you stand up, and you say out loud, worry time is over. And then you immediately transition to a pleasant or engaging activity. Go for a walk, listen to your favorite music, cook dinner, play with your pet. This creates a clear boundary, a clear signal to your brain that the container has been closed. What you will find when you practice this is truly remarkable. Two things will happen. First, you will reclaim your day. When a worry pops up, you now have a plan for it. You don't have to get hijacked by it in the moment. You can just jot it down and move on. This dramatically reduces the background noise of anxiety and improves your ability to focus. Second, and this is the real magic, you will find that by the time your 5 p.m. appointment arrives, most of the worries on your list will have lost their power. When you look at them in the cold light of day, they will seem much smaller, more manageable, or even ridiculous. The emotional heat will have dissipated. You have given your mind the outlet it craves, but you have done it on your terms. in a controlled, contained way. You are managing your mind, not being managed by it. Finally, we come to the ultimate filter, the one question that can cut through the noise and guide you back to sanity in any moment. We spend so much energy debating with our thoughts, trying to figure out if they are true or not. This is a losing game, a rabbit hole of endless back and forth. The question we should be asking is not, is this thought true? But, is this thought helpful? Usefulness is a much better metric for your attention than truth. A thought can be 100% factually true, but completely unhelpful to think about in a given moment. It is true that we are all going to die one day. Is that a helpful thought to be dwelling on while you are trying to enjoy a birthday party? No. It is true that you made a mistake on a project last year. Is it helpful to be replaying that mistake while you are trying to fall asleep? No. This question, is this thought helpful right now, becomes your ultimate filter for engagement. When you find yourself stuck in a thought loop, pause and ask the question, is this line of thinking helping me to solve a problem, to feel better, or to move toward my goals? Or is it just draining my energy, making me feel anxious and keeping me stuck? If the answer is that the thought is not helpful, you have all the permission you need to gently disengage. You don't have to prove it wrong. You just have to recognize its uselessness, and then you can use one of your other tools to redirect your attention. You can anchor yourself in your senses. You can focus on your breath. You can engage in a 2-minute action. This question empowers you to become a conscious curator of your own mental space. You get to choose which thoughts are worthy of your precious time and energy. You now have a powerful set of tools to change your relationship with your mind. You know that you are not your thoughts. You know how to unhook yourself from them, how to name them, how to contain them, and how to filter them. You are no longer a passive victim of your own thinking. You are an active, conscious participant in your inner world. This is not a one-time fix, but a lifelong practice of gentle awareness and compassionate redirection. Be patient with yourself. There will be days when you are hooked all day long, and that is okay. The goal is not to never get hooked. The goal is to get better at noticing when you are hooked and to unhook yourself with a little more speed and a little more grace each time. You are learning to be the calm, wise master of your own beautiful, chaotic, and creative mind. Chapter 7. The Body's Wisdom. Calming your mind by moving your body. We have traveled deep into the landscape of the mind. We have learned to navigate its tricky terrain, to name its inhabitants, and to choose our paths with intention. But now, we must turn our attention to the vessel that carries this mind through the world. We must come to understand a profound and often overlooked truth. You cannot think your way out of a feeling. Overthinking and anxiety are not just abstract mental events. They are deeply physical experiences. They live in your body. They are the knot in your stomach, the tightness in your chest, the tension in your shoulders, the shallowness of your breath, the racing of your heart. For too long, we have treated the mind and body as two separate entities, as if the head were a detached command center and the body were just a vehicle to carry it around. This is a fundamental error, a myth that has caused untold suffering. The mind and body are not two things. They are one integrated system, a constant feedback loop of chemistry and electricity. Your thoughts create physical sensations, and your physical state powerfully influences your thoughts. This is not a New Age idea. This is a biological fact. Therefore, one of the most direct and powerful ways to change what is happening in your head is to change what is happening in your body. Trying to argue with a panicked mind is like trying to reason with a fire alarm. The alarm is not designed to listen to logic. It is designed to scream. The way to silence the alarm is not to shout at it, but to go to the source and show the system that there is no fire. In this chapter, we will learn how to do just that. We will explore the simple, practical, and science-backed ways to use your own physiology, your breath, your movement, your posture, to send a powerful, undeniable signal of safety and calm from your body to your brain. You're about to discover that your body holds a deep wisdom, and it has been waiting patiently for you to listen. It is time to get out of your head and into your life, literally. Let's begin by understanding why anxiety feels so physical when your brain perceives a threat. whether it is a real tiger in the bushes or an imaginary what-if thought about a future event. It triggers the famous fight-or-flight response. As we discussed earlier, this system floods your body with the stress hormones cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are not just ideas, they are powerful chemicals with a specific job: to prepare your body for intense physical exertion, to fight the tiger or to run from it. Adrenaline makes your heart beat faster to pump more blood to your muscles. It makes your breathing quick and shallow to take in more oxygen. It causes your pupils to dilate, to see more clearly. Cortisol dumps sugar into your bloodstream for a quick energy source. Your muscles tense up, ready for action. Your digestion and immune systems are temporarily put on hold, as they are not essential for immediate survival. This is an incredible and brilliant system for dealing with a short-term physical threat. But what happens when the threat is the chronic hum of your overthinking? A 24/7 stream of worried thoughts. The fight-or-flight system is constantly being activated, but there is no tiger to fight. There is no predator to run from. So all of this physical preparation for action has nowhere to go. All that adrenaline, all that cortisol, all that muscle tension just sits there, trapped inside your body, stewing. This is the physical feeling of anxiety, the racing heart, the shaky hands, the butterflies in your stomach, the feeling of being keyed up and on edge. It is your body screaming, "I am ready to run a marathon. I am ready to fight for my life." While you are just sitting at your desk trying to answer an email, your mind and body are completely out of sync. Your mind is generating the threat signal, and your body is dutifully preparing for a physical battle that never comes. This is a state of profound dysregulation, and it is utterly exhausting. The beautiful and empowering truth is that this is a two-way street. Just as your mind can trigger a stress response in your body can trigger a relaxation response in your mind. You can use your physical self to consciously and deliberately reverse engineer the process of anxiety. You can use your body to tell your mind, "Hey, there's no tiger here. You can stand down. The emergency is over." The most effective way to do this is to give your body what it has been preparing for. You need to complete the stress cycle. You need to burn off the anxious energy. And the simplest way to do that is through movement. When we talk about exercise, I want you to immediately banish any images of grueling gym sessions, punishing boot camps, or marathon training, unless those are things you genuinely enjoy. For our purposes, exercise is not about weight loss, aesthetics, or performance. It is a tool for mental health, a form of physical medicine for your mind. The goal is not to punish your body, but to listen to it and give it what it needs. And what it needs when it's full of anxious energy is release. A study from Princeton University found that physical activity reorganizes the brain so that its response to stress is reduced. When you exercise, you are essentially teaching your brain to better cope with stress, not just chemically, but structurally. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like a brisk 15-minute walk. That's it. When you feel that familiar hum of anxiety starting to build, when you feel restless and agitated and your thoughts are starting to spin, do not sit there and fight it. Do not try to think your way out of it. Put on your shoes and walk, and when you walk, walk with intention. Feel your feet hitting the pavement. Swing your arms. Get your heart rate up a little. You don't need to be gasping for breath, just moving with a sense of purpose. As you walk, you are physically burning off the adrenaline and cortisol that were making you feel so keyed up. You are using the fuel that your body prepared. You are completing the cycle. You are telling your body, this is the running from the tiger that you are getting ready for. As you metabolize those stress hormones, you will literally feel the anxious energy begin to dissipate. It's not magic, it's chemistry. You are changing your body's internal state, and your mind will follow. But something else happens when you exercise. Your brain begins to release a cocktail of powerful, beneficial chemicals. The most famous of these are endorphins, your body's natural opiates. They are powerful mood elevators and pain relievers. This is the runner's high, but you don't need to run a marathon to feel it. A moderate amount of exercise is enough to trigger their release, leaving you with a feeling of calm and well-being. But that's not all. Exercise also boosts the production of key neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, which are the very same chemicals targeted by many antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications. You have a powerful natural pharmacy inside your own body, and movement is the key that unlocks it. Furthermore, exercise also increases a remarkable protein in the brain called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. Scientists sometimes call BDNF miracle grow for the brain. It helps to protect your existing neurons and encourages the growth of new ones, especially in the hippocampus, a brain region that is crucial for learning, memory, and mood regulation, and is often smaller in people with chronic stress or depression. So when you go for that walk, you are not just burning off stress. You are literally building a bigger, stronger, more resilient brain. I want you to reframe your idea of exercise. It is not a chore. It is a celebration of what your body can do. It is a meeting you have with yourself, and it doesn't have to be a walk. Find a form of movement that you don't hate, maybe even one that you enjoy. It could be dancing in your living room to your favorite songs for 10 minutes. The sillier, the better. Shaking and dancing are primal ways that the body releases stored tension. It could be gardening, digging in the dirt, feeling the sun on your back. It could be stretching on your floor while you listen to a podcast. It could be riding a bicycle, doing a few simple yoga poses you find online, or even just putting on some music and having a cleaning party where you scrub your kitchen with vigor. The key is to get your body moving and your heart rate up, even for a short period. The question is not what is the perfect workout, but what is the movement I can do right now? Remember the power of imperfect action. A 10-minute good enough workout is infinitely better than the perfect 1-hour workout that you never do. Make movement a non-negotiable part of your anxiety management toolkit. When you feel the storm coming, see it as a signal, a cue from your body that it needs to move. Treat it like a prescription, and go fill it. You will be astonished at how a short burst of physical activity can completely change your mental state. You will return to your desk or your day feeling calmer, clearer, and more capable of handling whatever comes next. You have respected your body's wisdom, and it has rewarded you with peace. Now let's talk about the most fundamental and accessible tool you have for regulating your nervous system, a tool you are using right now, but probably not with any conscious awareness. This tool is your breath. Your breath is the remote control for your nervous system, and most of us have been holding the remote upside down our entire lives. To understand this, we need to briefly revisit your autonomic nervous system, which has two main branches. The first is the sympathetic nervous system. This is your fight or flight system, your body's gas pedal. It gets you revved up for action. The second is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and digest system, your body's brake pedal. It calms you down, promotes relaxation, and allows for recovery and healing. In our modern, stressed-out lives, most of us are walking around with our foot slammed on the gas pedal all day long. The sympathetic nervous system is dominant, and the brake pedal of the parasympathetic system is rusty from lack of use. The amazing thing is that your breath is one of the very few bodily functions that is part of this autonomic system, but that you can also consciously control. And the way you breathe sends a direct signal to your brain about which system to activate. When you are anxious or stressed, your breathing naturally becomes fast, shallow, and located high in your chest. This pattern of breathing tells your brain, danger, we are in fight or flight mode, and it keeps the gas pedal pushed down. When you are relaxed and calm, your breathing is naturally slow, deep, and diaphragmatic, meaning it comes from your belly. This pattern of breathing tells your brain, we are safe, we can relax, and it gently applies the brake pedal of the parasympathetic system. This is another two-way street. Your emotional state changes your breath, but you can also consciously change your breath to change your emotional state. One of the most powerful ways to do this is to focus on the exhale. A long, slow exhale is the body's secret weapon for activating the parasympathetic nervous system. This is because of a magnificent nerve in your body called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the main highway of the parasympathetic system, running from your brainstem all the way down through your neck, chest, and abdomen, connecting to your heart, lungs, and digestive organs. When you slow down your exhale, You stimulate the vagus nerve, which then sends a powerful signal back to your brain that says, "All is well, it is safe to calm down." It's like sending a direct text message to your brain's command center, telling it to stand down from high alert. This is why a deep sigh of relief feels so good. A sigh is simply a long exhale, and it is your body's intuitive way of hitting the reset button on its stress response. We can take this intuitive knowledge and turn it into a deliberate practice. The simplest form of this is called coherent breathing or resonant breathing. The goal is to balance your inhale and your exhale. A good place to start is with a count of 4. I want to guide you through a few rounds right now. Wherever you are, just sit or stand in a comfortable position. If you can, place one hand on your belly. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Now, let's begin. Gently breathe in through your nose for a slow count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, gently breathe out through your mouth or nose for a slow count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4. As you breathe in, feel your hand on your belly rise. This means you are using your diaphragm. Breathing deeply as you breathe out. Feel your belly fall. Continue for a few more rounds at your own pace. In for 4, out for 4. You have just taken conscious control of your nervous system. You have told it to shift gears from stress to calm. For an even more powerful calming effect, you can make your exhale longer than your inhale. This puts extra emphasis on stimulating that vagus nerve. A simple and effective pattern is the 4-7-8 breath, popularized by Dr. Andrew Weil. It is a powerful natural tranquilizer for the nervous system. Here's how it works. You breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4. You hold your breath for a count of 7, and then you exhale completely through your mouth, making a whooshing sound for a count of 8. The hold allows the oxygen to saturate your bloodstream. And the long audible exhale is the key to triggering the relaxation response. Doing just 3 or 4 cycles of this breath can have a profound and immediate calming effect. It is a perfect tool to use when you are trying to fall asleep, or in a moment of acute anxiety. An even simpler and more structured technique, perfect for when your mind is racing and you need something to focus on, is called box breathing. This technique is famously used by Navy SEALs to stay calm and focused in high-stress situations. It's called box breathing because it has 4 equal sides, just like a box. Here is the pattern. You inhale for a count of 4. You hold your breath at the top for a count of 4. You exhale for a count of 4. And you hold your breath at the bottom for a count of 4. And then you repeat the cycle. Let's try it. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. The structure of this breath is incredibly grounding. It gives your racing mind something simple and rhythmic to focus on, pulling your attention away from your anxious thoughts and anchoring it in the sensation of your breath. The holds are also important, as they prevent you from hyperventilating and give your nervous system time to reset. I want you to think of these breathing techniques as your pocket-sized emergency kit. You can use them anywhere, anytime. No one even has to know you are doing them. You can do a few cycles of box breathing before a big meeting, in the middle of a difficult conversation, or while you are stuck in traffic. You can practice coherent breathing for a few minutes at your desk to reset after a stressful email. You are not just breathing. You are actively managing your own physiology. You are taking the remote control for your nervous system, turning it right side up, and deliberately pressing the calm button. The more you practice these techniques when you are not stressed, the more effective they will be when you are building the muscle memory of relaxation, carving a new neural pathway for calm that will become easier and easier to access over time. Finally, let's talk about a more subtle but pervasive way that our bodies influence our minds, our posture. Think about the physical posture of anxiety. Your shoulders are hunched forward, your head is down, your chest is caved in. It is a posture of self-protection, of making yourself smaller to hide from a threat. Now think about the posture of confidence. Your shoulders are back, your chest is open, your head is held high. It is a posture of openness, of readiness to engage with the world. For a long time, we thought that posture was simply an expression of our emotional state. You feel anxious, so you hunch. You feel confident, so you stand tall. But again, the two-way street is at play. The social psychologist Amy Cuddy gave a famous TED Talk on this topic. Her research showed that adopting a power pose, a confident and expansive posture, for just 2 minutes can actually change your brain chemistry. It was shown to decrease levels of the stress hormone cortisol and increase levels of testosterone, which is associated with confidence and assertiveness. While some of the specific findings of her research have been debated, the core principle remains sound and has been supported by other studies. Your posture sends a powerful signal to your own brain about your state of mind. You can use this to your advantage. You can act as if. You can use your body to lead your mind. When you are feeling anxious and uncertain, notice your posture. Are you slumped over your desk? Are you huddled in your chair? Gently and without judgment, change it. Pull your shoulders back and down, away from your ears. Lift your chest slightly, as if a string were pulling it gently toward the ceiling. Unclench your jaw. Let your arms rest comfortably at your sides. Put a slight smile on your face, even if it feels fake. The act of smiling, even a forced one, can trigger the release of mood-boosting neurotransmitters. You are adopting the physiology of confidence, and your mind will take notice. It's another way of sending that text message to your brain. Everything is okay here. We are not under threat. We are open. We are safe. We are strong. You can integrate this into your daily life. When you walk with your head up, looking at the world around you instead of the pavement in front of you. When you sit at your desk, adjust your chair so that your feet are flat on the floor and your back is supported. Take regular breaks to stand up. Stretch your arms overhead and open up your chest. A gesture that is the physical opposite of the anxiety hunch. These are not just ergonomic tips for preventing back pain. They are psychological interventions for cultivating a calmer mind. You are using the physical architecture of your body to build a mental state of resilience. Your body is not your enemy. It is not a separate, unruly thing that needs to be disciplined and controlled. It is your wisest counselor, your most loyal ally, and your most direct path back to peace. The anxious energy that you feel is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that your body is working perfectly, preparing you for a challenge. Your job is to learn how to work with that energy, to honor it, and to release it in healthy ways. Your job is to listen to its signals and to respond with the medicine it needs. The medicine of movement, the medicine of breath, the medicine of posture. When you feel trapped in the noisy, chaotic prison of your own mind, remember that you always hold the key. That key is your body. Get up, take a walk, take a deep breath, stand up tall, get out of your head, and come home to yourself. The wisdom you seek is already within you, waiting in the quiet rhythm of your own heart. Chapter 8. Creating your sanctuary. Designing a calmer environment. We have journeyed inward to the mind and the body, learning to befriend our thoughts and regulate our nervous system. These are the internal pillars of a peaceful life. But we do not exist in a vacuum. We are porous beings, constantly influenced and shaped by the world around us. You can do all the internal work in the world. You can meditate, breathe, and exercise. But if you then step back into an environment that is chaotic, cluttered, and stressful, you are swimming against a powerful current. You are trying to find peace in the middle of a war zone. It is time to expand our focus outward. It is time to recognize that our physical and social environments are not just passive backdrops to our lives. They are active participants. They can either be sources of chronic, low-grade stress that fuel our overthinking, or they can be sanctuaries that support our calm and nurture our well-being. In this chapter, we are going to become conscious architects. We are going to learn how to deliberately design our personal worlds, our homes, our workspaces, our sensory inputs, and our social circles to be extensions of the inner peace we are cultivating. This is not about expensive renovations or becoming a minimalist monk. This is about making small intentional choices that reduce friction, create ease, and send a constant, gentle signal to our nervous system that we are safe, we are supported, and we are home. Your environment is a powerful form of communication with yourself. It is time to learn its language and start telling yourself a story of calm. You have the power to curate your world. Let's begin. The first and most tangible place to start is with your physical space, and the foundational principle is this: outer order contributes to inner calm. Think about how you feel when you walk into a room that is cluttered, messy, and disorganized. Every object out of place is a tiny, unresolved to-do item for your brain. The pile of mail on the table is a visual reminder of unopened bills and unanswered letters. The clothes draped over a chair are a silent testament to laundry that needs to be done. The stack of old magazines on the floor is a monument to procrastination. Each of these things, while small in itself, adds to your cognitive load. It's like having a dozen tiny buzzing flies in the room of your mind. You can try to ignore them, but they are still there, draining your attention and creating a low-grade hum of overwhelm. Your brain sees the chaos and interprets it as a sign that things are not under control, which in turn fuels the feeling of anxiety and the need to overthink. A cluttered space is a nursery for a cluttered mind. Now contrast that with the feeling of walking into a space that is clear, organized, and simple. Your shoulders drop, your breath deepens, your mind feels clearer. Why? Because the environment is sending a different message. It is saying, things are handled. There is nothing that needs your immediate attention here. You can rest. A clear space gives your mind permission to be still. It creates a visual silence that is as restorative as auditory silence. The world-renowned organizing consultant Marie Kondo built an empire on this simple truth. Her method is not just about tidying up. It's a form of mindfulness practice. It's about consciously choosing what to keep in your life and giving every object a designated home. When everything has a home, there is no clutter. When there is no clutter, there is no visual noise. This does not mean you have to turn your home into a sterile minimalist museum. Your home should be a reflection of you, filled with things you love. The goal is not emptiness, the goal is intention. The key is to eliminate the things that are not serving you and to create systems for the things that are. So, where do you start? The thought of decluttering your entire home can be overwhelming, which can lead to the very paralysis we are trying to avoid. So we will apply the principles we have already learned. We will start small. We will focus on imperfect action. We will not try to conquer the whole house at once. We will start by creating one small island of calm, one tiny sanctuary in your home that you can retreat to. I want you to choose one small manageable area. This could be your nightstand. It could be the coffee table in your living room. It could be a single shelf on your bookshelf. It could be the chair in the corner where you like to read. Your mission for this week is to transform that one small area into a beacon of tranquility. Let's take the nightstand as an example. For many of us, the nightstand is a dumping ground. It's a chaotic collection of old water glasses, half-read books, charging cables, stray receipts, and dust. This is the last thing you see before you go to sleep and the first thing you see when you wake up. It is setting the tone for your rest and for your day. So let's change the message it's sending. Your first step is to take everything off it. Everything. Wipe the surface clean. Now look at the pile of things you removed. We are going to be intentional about what we allow back into this sacred space. Pick up each item and ask yourself, does this object contribute to my sense of peace and rest? The empty water glass? No, it goes to the kitchen. The stray receipts? No, they go in the trash or your filing system. The tangled mess of cables? Can you find a small box or a drawer to contain them? The stack of 5 books you intend to read? Maybe choose just one, the one you are actively reading, and put the others back on the bookshelf. What should go on your nightstand? Things that calm you. Perhaps a small lamp with a warm, soft bulb, the one book you are currently reading, a small plant which brings life and nature into your space, a framed photo of a loved one or a beautiful memory, a journal and a pen, a candle with a soothing scent. That's it. You have just curated your nightstand. It is no longer a source of chaos. It is a source of calm. It is a small altar to your own peace of mind. Once you have created your one island of calm, you can slowly expand your territory. Maybe next week you tackle one drawer in your kitchen, or the trunk of your car, or your desk at work. Use the 2-minute rule here. If you see something out of place and it takes less than 2 minutes to put it back in its home, do it immediately. This prevents the clutter from accumulating in the first place. You are not just cleaning, you are practicing a form of mindfulness. You are being intentional about your relationship with your physical world. You are creating an outer environment that mirrors the inner environment you wish to cultivate. You are building your sanctuary, one small intentional choice at a time. This is not about perfection. It is about creating a space that makes you feel good to be in, a space that supports your journey toward calm. Now let's move from the visual to the other senses. Our senses are direct gateways to our nervous system. What we see, hear, smell, and feel can either trigger a stress response or a relaxation response. Most of us go through our days without any conscious thought about the sensory inputs we are subjecting ourselves to. We are passively consuming a sensory diet that is often junk food for the nervous system. Harsh fluorescent lights, the constant blare of the television, the jarring notifications from our phones, the artificial smells of chemical cleaners. We can and we must become conscious curators of our sensory world. We can intentionally design a sensory diet that nourishes our calm. Let's start with sound. Sound has a profound and immediate impact on our physiological state. Loud, jarring, and chaotic sounds trigger the sympathetic nervous system, putting us on high alert. Quiet, rhythmic, and natural sounds trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation. Your mission is to become the DJ of your own life, consciously choosing the soundtrack for your peace. First, notice the noise pollution in your life. Is the television on in the background all the time, even when no one is watching it? The constant chatter, the dramatic music, the alarming news reports, this is a bath of auditory stress. Make a conscious choice to turn it off when you are not actively watching it. Embrace the beauty of silence. Silence is not empty. It is full of peace. It gives your auditory processing centers a much-needed rest. When you do want to have sound, be intentional. Create a calm playlist on your favorite music streaming service. Fill it with music that makes you feel relaxed. This will be different for everyone. For some, it might be classical music. For others, it could be gentle acoustic folk, ambient electronic music, or instrumental jazz. The key is that it should be music that doesn't demand your active attention, but rather creates a soothing atmosphere. Lyrics can sometimes be distracting if you are trying to focus or relax. So instrumental music is often a great choice. You can also explore the world of nature sounds. There are countless apps and videos that offer high-quality recordings of rain falling, waves crashing on a shore, a crackling fireplace, or birds singing in a forest. These sounds are deeply reassuring to our ancient nervous systems. They signal safety and tranquility. Try playing these sounds softly in the background while you work, read, or just rest. You are replacing the sounds of stress with the sounds of serenity. Next, let's consider the sense of smell. Scent is the most primitive of all our senses, and it has a direct line to the parts of our brain that control emotion and memory, the amygdala and the limbic system. This is why a certain smell can instantly transport you back to a childhood memory or change your mood. We can use this powerful connection to our advantage. The practice of aromatherapy is based on this principle. Certain essential oils derived from plants have been shown to have calming effects on the nervous system. The most well-known of these is lavender. Numerous studies have shown that inhaling the scent of lavender can reduce anxiety, lower heart rate, and improve sleep quality. Other calming scents include chamomile, bergamot, sandalwood, and ylang-ylang. How can you incorporate this into your sanctuary? An essential oil diffuser is a simple and effective way. It releases a fine, scented mist into the air, creating a subtle, calming atmosphere in your room. You can diffuse lavender in your bedroom in the evening to prepare for sleep. You could use a citrus scent like bergamot or lemon in the morning to feel uplifted and positive. You can also use scent in other ways. A few drops of lavender oil on your pillowcase at night, a scented candle with a natural, soothing fragrance like vanilla or sandalwood, a sachet of dried lavender in your closet. Even the act of peeling an orange and inhaling the fresh, bright scent from the zest can be a moment of sensory mindfulness. You are using the power of scent to anchor yourself in the present and to send a message of calm to the deepest parts of your brain. Now, let's talk about light. Like sound, light has a powerful effect on our biology, particularly on our circadian rhythm, our body's internal 24-hour clock. Bright blue spectrum light, like the light from the sun and our electronic screens, signals to our brain that it is daytime. It suppresses the production of melatonin and tells us to be alert and awake. Dim, warm, amber-toned light signals that it is evening, allowing melatonin to be released and preparing our bodies for rest. The problem with modern life is that we are surrounded by bright blue light well into the night. We sit under harsh overhead fluorescent lights and then stare at the blue light from our televisions, computers, and phones right up until we go to bed. This throws our circadian rhythm into chaos and is a major contributor to sleep problems and the feeling of being tired and wired. You can become the lighting designer of your own sanctuary. During the day, try to get as much natural sunlight as possible. Open your curtains and blinds. If you work in an office, try to sit near a window or take short breaks to go outside. This helps to set your internal clock and improves your mood and alertness during the day. Then, as evening approaches, begin to implement a light sunset to go along with your digital sunset. Turn off the harsh overhead lights, use lamps instead, and choose bulbs with a warmer color temperature. Look for bulbs that are labeled soft white or warm white. You can even buy smart bulbs that allow you to change the color and brightness from your phone, gradually warming the light as the evening progresses. Use dimmer switches to lower the intensity of the light. Light candles to create a soft flickering glow. You are mimicking the natural transition from day to night that our ancestors experienced for millennia. You are giving your brain the clear, unambiguous signal that it is time to wind down, to relax, and to prepare for deep, restorative sleep. The final piece of your sanctuary is not about your physical space, but about your social space. The people we surround ourselves with have an enormous impact on our mental and emotional state. This is because of a phenomenon called emotional contagion. We are social creatures, and we are hardwired to pick up on and be influenced by the emotional states of those around us. If you spend time with someone who is constantly anxious, pessimistic, and complaining, you are likely to walk away feeling drained, heavy, and more anxious yourself. Their stress becomes your stress. Conversely, if you spend time with someone who is calm, positive, and supportive, you are likely to feel uplifted, lighter, and more at peace. Their calm is contagious. It is time to conduct a social audit. It is time to become a conscious curator of your social environment. This is not about cutting everyone off who isn't perfectly positive all the time. That is unrealistic and lacks compassion. This is about being intentional with your most precious resource, your time and energy. I want you to think about the key people in your life, your friends, your family, your colleagues. And for each person, I want you to honestly and non-judgmentally ask yourself how you generally feel after you interact with them. A simple way to categorize this is to think of people as either radiators or drains. Radiators are the people who leave you feeling warmer. They are supportive, encouraging, and genuinely happy for your successes. They listen well. They might challenge you, but they do it from a place of love and respect. You feel seen, heard, and energized in their presence. They radiate positivity. Drains are the people who leave you feeling exhausted. They might be constantly negative or critical. They might dominate the conversation with their own problems, never asking about you. They might be prone to drama, gossip, or complaining. You might feel a sense of dread before seeing them and a sense of depletion after. They drain your energy. Once you have done this audit, your task is simple in concept, but can be challenging in practice. You need to consciously maximize your time with the radiators and minimize or manage your time with the drains. This might mean making a proactive effort to schedule a coffee date with that supportive friend you haven't seen in a while. It might mean calling that family member who always makes you laugh. It means actively seeking out the people who fill your cup. Managing the drains requires a different set of skills. For drains that you are not obligated to see, you can simply create distance. You don't have to have a dramatic confrontation. You can just become less available. You can stop initiating contact. You can politely decline their invitations more often. you are allowed to protect your peace. For drains that you cannot avoid, such as a family member or a close colleague, the key is to set boundaries. A boundary is not a wall to keep people out. It is a line that you draw for your own well-being. It is a loving act for yourself. Setting boundaries can look like this. If you have a friend who only ever calls to complain, you can set a time limit. You can say at the beginning of the call, "It's so good to hear from you. I've only got about 15 minutes before I have to run, but I'd love to catch up." This gives you an exit strategy. If you have a family member who is always critical of your choices, you can learn to redirect the conversation. You can say, "I appreciate your concern, but I'm not looking for advice on this right now. Let's talk about something else. How was your week?" This is a firm but polite way of stating your boundary. You can also set boundaries on your energy. If you know you are going to a family gathering that will be draining, you can be intentional about it. You can decide beforehand that you will only stay for 2 hours. You can make sure you have time for a calming activity before and after the event, like going for a walk or taking a bath. You are not trying to change the other person. You are changing how you engage with them. You are taking responsibility for your own energy. Surrounding yourself with radiators and setting boundaries with drains is one of the most powerful acts of self-care you can perform. It is a declaration that your peace is valuable and worth protecting. You are creating a social sanctuary, a circle of support that will lift you up and reinforce the calm you are working so hard to cultivate within yourself. You are the architect of your world. You have the power to shape your physical and social environment to be a reflection of the peace you seek. Start today. Create one small island of calm in your home. Choose a soundtrack of serenity instead of stress. Infuse your space with scents that soothe you. Dim the lights in the evening, and consciously choose to spend your precious energy with the people who warm your soul. These are not trivial acts. They are profound statements to yourself and to the universe. They are the daily practical work of building a life where calm is not just a fleeting feeling, but the very air you breathe. You are not just creating a sanctuary of space, you are creating a sanctuary of self. Chapter 9. The Resilience Blueprint. Weaving calm into your daily life. We have gathered a remarkable collection of tools and insights on this journey. We have learned to befriend our minds, to anchor in the present, to move our bodies, and to architect our environments. We have filled our conceptual toolbox with powerful strategies for finding calm in the chaos. But a toolbox full of shiny new tools is useless if it just sits in the garage gathering dust. The most brilliant tool is worthless if you don't remember to use it when you actually need it. The true challenge and the ultimate goal is to move from knowing to doing. It is to take these individual concepts and practices and weave them so seamlessly into the fabric of your daily life that they become second nature. It is to build a system of habits and routines that supports your well-being automatically without requiring a constant exertion of willpower. This chapter is the blueprint for that system. We are moving from individual tactics to an integrated strategy. We are going to design a personal resilience plan, a daily operating system for calm. This is not about adding more things to your already overflowing to-do list. It is about being smarter and more intentional with the time you already have. It is about creating simple, powerful routines for the two most important moments of your day, the very beginning and the very end. And it is about creating a personalized, in-case-of-emergency plan for those moments when, despite your best efforts, the storm of overthinking threatens to overwhelm you. This is where the magic happens. This is how you transform a series of good ideas into a new way of being. You are not just learning how to find calm, you are becoming a person who is calm. Let's build your blueprint. The first step in creating your resilience blueprint is to consolidate your tools. Throughout this book, we have covered a wide array of techniques: the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, the 2-minute rule, naming your demons, the worry window, box breathing, the good enough principle, and many more. It can be overwhelming to try to remember all of them. The key is to recognize that you do not need to use all of them. You only need to use the ones that work for you. Different tools will resonate with different people. Your task now is to become your own personal trainer, selecting the exercises that best suit your unique psychology and lifestyle. I want you to take out a piece of paper or open a new document, and I want you to title it My Calm Toolkit. Now, I want you to review the key techniques we have discussed. As you think about each one, ask yourself, does this feel right for me? Does this sound like something I could actually see myself doing? Don't think about what you should do. Think about what feels intuitive and accessible. Your goal is to select your top 3 to 5 favorite tools. These will become your go-to first line of defense strategies. Let's do a quick review to jog your memory. From Chapter 4, we have the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, your emergency brake for high anxiety moments. We also have the practice of mindful moments, like mindfully drinking your coffee or taking a mindful shower. From Chapter 5, we have the 2-minute rule for building momentum and the good enough mindset for overcoming perfectionism. From Chapter 6, we have the diffusion technique of saying, I'm having the thought that, the practice of naming your demons, like Judge Judy or the Doomsday Channel, and the containment strategy of the worry window. From Chapter 7, we have the tools for physiological regulation, a brisk 15-minute walk to burn off stress, and the structured breathing exercises like box breathing or the 4-7-8 breath. Go through this list and choose your personal toolkit. Maybe your list looks like this: 1. A brisk 15-minute walk. 2. Box breathing. 3. The 2-minute rule. 4. Naming my what-if catastrophe show. 5. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. This is your personalized first aid kit for your mind. Write it down, put it somewhere you can see it. You could write it on a sticky note and put it on your computer monitor. You could make it the lock screen on your phone. The purpose of this is to make your tools visible and accessible. In a moment of high stress, your rational brain tends to go offline, and it's hard to remember what you're supposed to do. Having your toolkit visible is like having a fire extinguisher on the wall. You don't have to think about where it is, you just have to grab it. You are creating a simple, clear action plan for when you start to feel overwhelmed. This simple act of creating your toolkit is a powerful step. It moves you from being a passive consumer of information to an active owner of your own mental health strategy. Now that you have your toolkit, we need to build a structure to house it in. This structure is your daily routine. Routines are often given a bad rap. They can sound boring or restrictive. But a well-designed routine is the exact opposite. A good routine is not a prison, it is a platform. It automates the essential but mundane decisions of your day, which liberates your mental energy and willpower for the things that truly matter: your creative work, your relationships, and your problem solving. A routine is a form of proactive self-care. It ensures that you are consistently taking care of your own well-being, not just when you happen to feel like it. The 2 most powerful leverage points for a routine are the very beginning of your day and the very end. How you start your morning sets the trajectory for the next 16 hours. How you end your evening determines the quality of your rest and recovery, which in turn fuels your resilience for the next day. Let's start with designing your morning routine. The goal of a morning routine is not to cram in as many productive activities as possible. The goal is to start your day with intention, calm, and a sense of being grounded in yourself before you give your energy away to the rest of the world. The cardinal rule, the absolute non-negotiable foundation of a resilient morning, is this: no phone for the first 15 to 30 minutes of your day. I cannot overstate the importance of this. When you wake up and the very first thing you do is grab your phone, you are immediately inviting the chaos of the world into your mind before it is even fully awake. You are flooding your brain with a torrent of other people's agendas, emails, other people's anxieties, the news, and other people's curated highlight reels, social media. You are starting your day in a reactive, defensive posture. You are immediately putting yourself into a state of comparison, stress, and overwhelm. This is like starting a race by first shooting yourself in the foot. You must create a sacred, screen-free buffer zone at the beginning of your day. Buy a cheap alarm clock so your phone doesn't have to be your alarm. Leave your phone to charge overnight in another room. This will be difficult at first. The pull to check it will be strong. This is the addiction to the dopamine slot machine we talked about, but you must resist. This first 15 minutes belongs to you, and only you. So what do you do during this sacred time? You create a simple, repeatable sequence of calming activities. I'm going to propose a simple formula that you can adapt. It's called the 3M formula: mindfulness, movement, and mindset. You will spend a few minutes on each. The entire routine can take as little as 10 minutes, but it will fundamentally change the quality of your day. Let's start with mindfulness. This is about checking in with yourself before you check in with the world. It is about grounding yourself in the present moment. This doesn't have to be a long meditation. It can be as simple as sitting on the edge of your bed, placing your hand on your heart, and doing 1 minute of box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. That's it. Just 1 minute. You are calming your nervous system and starting your day from a place of center. Or you could do the mindful coffee practice we discussed. For 2 minutes, you focus all of your senses on the act of making and drinking your first cup of coffee. The key is to start your day with a moment of quiet, non-judgmental presence. Next movement. Your body has been lying still for 8 hours. It is stiff and needs to be woken up gently. This is not your main workout for the day. This is about getting the blood flowing and activating the mind-body connection. It can take as little as 3 to 5 minutes. You can do a few simple stretches. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. Bend over and touch your toes. Do a few gentle neck rolls and shoulder shrugs. You could do a few simple yoga poses like cat-cow or downward-facing dog. You could put on one of your favorite songs and just dance around your living room for 3 minutes. You are shaking off the inertia of sleep and sending a signal of energy and vitality to your body and brain. Finally, mindset. This is about intentionally priming your brain to focus on the positive. Our brains have a natural negativity bias. They are wired to look for threats and problems. We have to consciously train them to look for the good. The simplest and most powerful way to do this is with a gratitude practice. It can take just 1 minute. While you are stretching or drinking your coffee, think of 3 specific things you are grateful for. And they don't have to be big things. In fact, the more specific and sensory, the better. Instead of "I'm grateful for my family," try "I'm grateful for the way my partner's eyes crinkle when they laugh." Instead of "I'm grateful for my home," try "I'm grateful for the feeling of the warm, soft blanket on my couch." You could also spend a minute setting an intention for the day. An intention is not a to-do list. It is a guiding principle for how you want to show up. It could be a single word like patience, focus, or kindness. You can ask yourself, what quality do I want to embody today? So your 10-minute morning routine could look like this: 1 minute of box breathing, 4 minutes of gentle stretching, 1 minute of thinking of 3 things you're grateful for, and 4 minutes to mindfully sip your coffee. That's it. It is simple, it is achievable, and it is profoundly powerful. You have started your day by calming your nervous system, energizing your body, and focusing your mind on the positive. You are not starting your day by reacting to the world's chaos. You are starting it by creating your own calm. You are stepping onto the platform of your day as a grounded, centered, and resilient person. Now let's turn our attention to the other bookend of the day, your evening wind-down routine. If the morning routine is about setting you up for a successful day, the evening routine is about setting you up for a restorative night. The quality of your sleep is one of the single most important factors in your mental health and resilience. Sleep is when your brain cleans itself out, consolidates memories, and processes emotions. A lack of quality sleep makes you more anxious, more irritable, and less able to cope with stress. Your overthinking mind will be much louder on a day when you are sleep-deprived. Therefore, creating a routine that signals to your body and mind that it is time for rest is not a luxury. It is an essential part of your mental health practice. Just like the morning routine, the foundation of the evening routine is the digital sunset. As we discussed in the chapter on our environment, you must put away all screens, your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your television, at least 1 hour before your intended bedtime. The blue light from these devices disrupts your melatonin production, and the stimulating content keeps your mind revved up. This 1-hour screen-free buffer is your sacred wind-down time, so what do you do during this hour? You engage in activities that are calming and non-stimulating. This is where you bring in the other elements of your sanctuary. You dim the lights, you play your calm playlist or some nature sounds, you diffuse some lavender essential oil. You create a sensory environment that says rest, then you choose a calming activity. This could be reading a physical book, not on a screen. It could be taking a warm bath or shower. The drop in body temperature after you get out signals to your body that it's time for sleep. It could be listening to a relaxing podcast or an audiobook. It could be doing some very gentle, restorative stretching. One of the most powerful activities you can incorporate into your evening routine is a simple journaling practice. This is not about writing a detailed Dear Diary entry. It is a structured way to process your day and prepare your mind for sleep. I suggest 2 simple prompts. The first is a brain dump. You take a notebook and for 5 to 10 minutes, you write down anything and everything that is on your mind. All the worries, the to-do list items for tomorrow, the unresolved conversations, the random ideas. Get them out of your head and onto the paper. This is a powerful act of externalization. By writing them down, you are telling your brain, you don't have to keep spinning on these things. They are captured. They will be there tomorrow. This clears your mental cache and prevents those thoughts from popping up the moment your head hits the pillow. The second journaling prompt is to write down 1 or 2 things that went well today. This is a way of ending your day by focusing on the positive. It's the opposite of the overthinking mind's tendency to scan for what went wrong. What was one small victory? What was one moment of joy? What was one thing you are proud of? Maybe it was that you used the 2-minute rule to clean up the kitchen. Maybe it was that you had a nice conversation with a colleague. Maybe it was that you went for that walk. By ending your day on a note of positive reflection, you are training your brain to see the good in your life, and you are creating a sense of contentment and closure before you drift off to sleep. So, a 1-hour evening routine could look like this. The first 15 minutes are for tidying up your space, part of your outer order, inner calm practice, and preparing for tomorrow, laying out your clothes, packing your bag. The next 15 minutes are for personal hygiene, like brushing your teeth and washing your face. The next 15 minutes are for your journaling practice, the brain dump, and reflecting on what went well. And the final 15 minutes are for reading a calming book in bed, with a soft lamp on, until you feel your eyelids getting heavy. This is a routine that systematically winds down your nervous system, processes your day, and prepares you for deep, healing rest. It is the ultimate act of kindness to your future self. You now have the 2 pillars of your resilience blueprint, a grounding morning routine and a calming evening routine. These are your daily practices, your non-negotiables. But what happens in the 14 hours in between? Life happens, stress happens, unexpected challenges arise. The runaway train of overthinking will inevitably try to leave the station. This is where you need your emergency plan. This is where your calm toolkit comes into play. Your emergency plan is a simple, pre-decided sequence of actions you will take when you notice yourself entering a state of high anxiety or an overthinking spiral. The key is to have this plan decided in advance, so you don't have to think about what to do when you are already stressed. Your emergency plan should be a simple if-then statement. If I notice myself feeling overwhelmed or spiraling into what-if thinking, then I will do the following 3 things. I suggest a 3-step sequence that addresses your mind, your body, and your focus. Step 1 is to notice and name. This is the mindfulness piece. The moment you catch yourself spiraling, you pause, you take a breath, and you use your naming the demon technique. You say to yourself, okay, I notice I'm getting hooked. The doomsday channel is on. This simple act of noticing and naming creates that crucial space. It stops the fusion. It reminds you that you are the observer, not the thought. Step 2 is to regulate your physiology. This is the body piece. Immediately after naming the pattern, you engage in one of the physiological tools from your toolkit. You do not try to reason with the thought. You change your physical state. You could stand up and do 1 minute of intense movement, like jumping jacks or running in place. Or you could sit down and do 1 minute of box breathing. The choice depends on what feels more accessible in the moment. The goal is to interrupt the stress response in your body. Step 3 is to take one small action. This is the focus piece. After regulating your body, you immediately redirect your attention to one small, simple, external task. This could be from your 2-minute rule list. You could get up and wash a single dish. You could reply to one simple email. You could put one thing away. The action itself doesn't matter. What matters is that you are taking your focus off the internal chaos and placing it onto a simple, solvable external problem. This completes the interruption of the overthinking loop and gets you back into a state of agency and motion. Let's see this emergency plan in action. You are at work and you receive a vaguely worded email from your boss. Your mind immediately starts to spiral. What does this mean? Is she unhappy with my work? Am I in trouble? The runaway train is leaving the station, but you have a plan. Step 1, notice and name. You pause and think, okay, the What If catastrophe show is starting. I've seen this episode before. Step 2, regulate your physiology. You close your office door or walk to the restroom and you do 1 minute of box breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. You feel your heart rate start to slow down. Step 3, take 1 small action. You look at your desk and see your water bottle is empty. You get up, walk to the kitchen, and spend 1 minute filling it up, focusing on the sound of the water. By the time you get back to your desk, the emotional charge of the email has significantly decreased. You have successfully navigated a moment of high anxiety without getting swept away. You have used your blueprint. This is your resilience plan, a personalized toolkit of your favorite strategies, a grounding morning routine to start your day with intention, a calming evening routine to prepare you for restorative rest, and a simple 3-step emergency plan to navigate the inevitable storms. This is not about achieving a permanent state of bliss. That is impossible. This is about building the skills and the systems to navigate the full spectrum of human experience with more grace, more wisdom, and more peace. It is about knowing that no matter how chaotic the world gets, you have a blueprint for your own resilience. You have a path back home to yourself. You are not just hoping for a calmer life. You are actively, systematically building one small, intentional choice at a time. This is your power. This is your practice. This is your path forward. Chapter 10. The journey continues. Thriving in the chaos. We have reached the final chapter of our journey together, but we have not reached the end of the path. We have reached the beginning. You have been given a map, a compass, and a set of tools. You have been given the blueprint for building a more peaceful and resilient life. But a map is only useful if you use it to explore the territory. A blueprint is only valuable if you use it to build the house. The work and the joy is in the living. The purpose of this final chapter is to set you on your way with the right mindset for the journey ahead. It is to give you the final and perhaps most important tools: radical self-compassion, realistic expectations, and an unshakable belief in your own capacity to grow. This is not about a destination called fixed. This is about a lifelong journey of becoming. The first and most important principle to carry with you is this: progress, not perfection. I want you to read those words and then read them again. Progress, not perfection. Burn them into your mind. The goal of this book was never to cure you of overthinking. The goal was never to create a life where you never again feel anxiety, doubt, or fear. That is not a realistic human life. That is the life of a rock. The human experience is a rich and varied tapestry of emotions, both light and dark. To try to eliminate all the dark threads would be to destroy the entire tapestry. The goal is not to eliminate the storms. The goal is to become a better sailor. The goal is to know that you have an anchor. You know how to read the weather. And you know how to steer your ship with a steady hand, even when the waves are high. There will be days when you forget all your tools. There will be days when you wake up and grab your phone without thinking. There will be days when the runaway train of anxiety leaves the station and you are on it for the whole ride, only realizing it as you pull into the station of exhaustion at the end of the day. These days are not a sign of failure. They are not a sign that the process isn't working. They are a sign that you are human. They are simply data points. They are opportunities to learn and to practice the most important skill of all: self-compassion. On the days when you fall back into old patterns, you have a choice. You can activate your inner critic, your Judge Judy, who will berate you for your failure. See? You can't do it. You're still a mess. Nothing will ever change. This is the path of shame. It is adding a second layer of suffering on top of the first. You're already feeling anxious, and now you are feeling ashamed about feeling anxious. This is a downward spiral, but there is another choice. You can choose the path of the compassionate friend. You can notice your struggle and respond with kindness. You can say to yourself, wow, this is a really tough day. I'm having a hard time, and I fell back into some old habits. That's okay. It happens. What is one small thing I can do right now to take care of myself? This is the voice of self-compassion. It is the voice that says, you are worthy of kindness, especially when you are struggling. The renowned self-compassion researcher, Dr. Kristin Neff, defines self-compassion as having three core components. The first is mindfulness, which we have practiced. It is noticing your suffering without over-identifying with it. The second is common humanity. It is reminding yourself that suffering and imperfection are part of the shared human experience. You are not alone in your struggle. Everyone feels this way sometimes. This thought alone can be incredibly healing. It connects you to others, instead of isolating you in your shame. The third component is self-kindness. It is actively soothing and comforting yourself. It is treating yourself with the same care and concern you would show to a good friend who was having a hard time. I want you to make self-compassion your primary practice. When you notice you are caught in an overthinking loop, your first response should not be to grab a tool to fix it. Your first response should be to offer yourself a moment of kindness. You can place your hand on your heart, a gesture that has been shown to release the soothing hormone oxytocin, and say something like, "This is a moment of suffering. This is really hard right now. May I be kind to myself?" By doing this first, you take the fuel of self-criticism away from the fire. You create a safe internal space from which you can then choose to use one of your tools, not as a weapon to beat yourself with, but as a gentle guide to lead yourself back to calm. Progress, not perfection. And when perfectionism rears its head, meet it with a fierce and gentle compassion. That is the path of true resilience. The second principle to guide your journey is to trust in the power of the upward spiral. We are all familiar with the downward spiral of anxiety. A worried thought leads to a physical sensation of stress, which leads to more worried thoughts, which leads to poor sleep, which leads to more anxiety the next day. But the opposite is also true. Every small positive action you take creates an upward spiral of well-being. This is the power of momentum in action. When you choose to go for a 10-minute walk instead of staying on the couch, you burn off some stress hormones. This makes you feel a little bit calmer. Because you are calmer, you might be a little more patient in your conversation with your partner that evening. Because you had a positive interaction, you feel more connected, which helps you fall asleep more easily. Because you slept a little better, you wake up the next day with more mental energy and resilience, making it easier to handle the day's challenges and to choose another positive action. One small choice creates a ripple effect. This is why we have focused so much on small, consistent actions. You do not need to make massive, heroic changes to transform your life. You just need to start a few small upward spirals. The 2-minute rule is a perfect example of this. Every time you complete a small task, you get a tiny hit of dopamine and a small feeling of accomplishment. This makes it slightly more likely you will tackle the next small task. Each mindful breath you take makes the next one a little easier. Each time you successfully use your emergency plan, you are strengthening the neural pathways for resilience, making it easier to do it again next time. Your job is not to fix your entire life at once. Your job is to focus on the next small positive choice in front of you. What is the next upward spiral you can start? Can you drink a glass of water? Can you do 1 minute of stretching? Can you send one kind text message? Trust that these small, seemingly insignificant acts are the building blocks of a new reality. They are the gentle nudges that can shift the entire trajectory of your life, from a downward slope of anxiety to an upward climb of well-being. The big changes you seek are the cumulative result of 1,000 small choices. So just focus on the next one.
This subconscious mind is like a giant, powerful film projector. It is loaded with a very old film, a film made of your core beliefs about yourself and the world. Beliefs like, I am not worthy of love. The world is a dangerous place. I must work hard to be accepted. People will always let me down, or I am not smart enough. We are often not even consciously aware that these beliefs are running. They are the background operating system of our lives. This subconscious projector is always on, casting its film onto the screen of your life. And your vibrational frequency, as we learned in Chapter 2, is the light that powers the projector. The universe, in its impersonal and flawless way, then arranges people and circumstances to perfectly match the images on that film. It brings you experiences that will validate your subconscious beliefs. If you have a deep, hidden belief that you are not worthy of love, the mirror of the universe will bring you partners who are emotionally unavailable, critical, or who abandon you. These partners are not bad people. They are simply actors, playing a role in your movie, a movie you wrote the script for long ago. Their behavior is the reflection of the "I am not worthy" smudge on your own face. Their presence in your life is a gift. It is the universe lovingly tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, look at this belief you are holding about yourself. It is causing you pain. Are you ready to heal it now?" The trigger is the curriculum. The person who triggers you is your teacher. This concept was articulated beautifully by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, who gave us the idea of the shadow self. The shadow is not the evil part of you. It is simply the disowned part of you. It is all the aspects of yourself that you were taught were unacceptable. As children, we learn very quickly what parts of us will be met with approval and what parts will be met with disapproval, punishment, or withdrawal of love. Perhaps you were a loud, boisterous child, and you were constantly told to be quiet or settle down. So you learned to suppress your exuberant, powerful energy. That energy did not go away. It just went into the shadow. Perhaps you expressed anger, and you were shamed for it. So your anger went into the shadow. Perhaps you were needy and wanted affection, and you were told you were being a crybaby. So your vulnerability went into the shadow. We all have a shadow self, a bag full of disowned parts that we carry around. And because we cannot see what is in our own bag, we see it everywhere else. This is the psychological mechanism of projection. We project our disowned shadow parts onto other people. We see our own unacknowledged anger in the angry boss. We see our own disowned neediness in the clingy friend. We see our own suppressed power in the arrogant celebrity. The people who irritate us, infuriate us, or disgust us the most are often perfect mirrors of our own shadow self. The intense emotional charge we feel is the clue. That intense energy is the sound of one of our disowned parts rattling the cage, begging to be seen and integrated. Let's walk through some very common examples to make this crystal clear. Let's say you are constantly annoyed by your coworker, who you perceive as being incredibly lazy. He does the bare minimum. He takes long breaks. He never volunteers for extra work. Every time you see him slacking off while you're working hard, you feel a surge of resentment and judgment. You think, "He is so lazy, I can't stand it." Now, according to the law of the mirror, his laziness is a reflection of something within you. The immediate reaction is, "No, I am the hardest worker in the office. I am the opposite of lazy." And that is precisely the point. You have likely disowned your own need for rest. You have put your lazy part into your shadow. You probably have a deep belief that your worth comes from your productivity. You do not allow yourself to rest, to take long breaks, or to do the bare minimum even when you are exhausted. So when you see your coworker freely embodying the very quality you deny yourself, it triggers you. He is mirroring your own suppressed desire for rest. The universe is using him to ask you, where do you need to allow yourself to be a little more lazy? Where are you driving yourself to exhaustion out of a fear of not being worthy? The mirror is not telling you to become a slacker. It is inviting you to find balance, to integrate the part of you that knows how to rest. Let's take another one. Imagine you're intensely triggered by people you perceive as arrogant or attention-seeking. You see someone on social media confidently promoting their work, or you meet someone at a party who talks animatedly about their accomplishments, and you feel a wave of distaste. You think, they are so full of themselves. Who do they think they are? This is a classic shadow projection. It is highly likely that you have disowned your own power, your own confidence, and your own light. You were probably taught as a child that it is not polite to brag, that you should be humble, that you should not take up too much space. So you learned to play small. You dimmed your own light so as not to make others uncomfortable. That powerful, confident, self-promoting part of you went into the shadow. Now, when you see someone else living it out loud, it feels threatening and distasteful to your conditioned ego. They are mirroring your own suppressed greatness. The universe is using them to say, look at this magnificent, confident energy. A part of you has this too. Are you ready to stop hiding? Are you ready to own your power and let your light shine? The invitation is to reclaim your own healthy sense of pride and self-worth. Let's do one more, a very common one in relationships. You find yourself with a partner who is emotionally distant and unavailable. You crave connection, but they seem to be behind a wall. You feel hurt, rejected, and unloved. You blame them for their inability to be vulnerable. This is a painful mirror, but a powerful one. Look inward. Where are you emotionally unavailable to yourself? Do you ignore your own feelings? Do you push through sadness instead of allowing yourself to feel it? Do you distract yourself with work or entertainment to avoid being present with your own inner world? The partner who is emotionally unavailable to you is often a perfect reflection of how you are emotionally unavailable to yourself.
The final and most empowering realization I want to leave you with is this. The calm you are seeking is not somewhere out there in the future. It is not a prize you will win once you have perfected all these techniques. The calm you seek is already within you. It has been there all along. It is the quiet, unchanging awareness that has been patiently witnessing the chaos of your mind. It is the sky that holds the weather. It is the platform that watches the trains. It is the deep, still center in the eye of your personal storm. The purpose of all these tools and practices has not been to create a new sense of calm. It has been to clear away all the clutter, all the noise, and all the fear that has been obscuring the calm that is your true nature. The world will always be a place of a certain amount of chaos. There will always be uncertainty, challenges, and things outside of your control. The goal was never to change the world. The goal was to change your relationship with it. The goal was to build a stable inner sanctuary so that you can navigate the outer chaos with grace and strength. You are learning to carry your peace with you. It is not dependent on external conditions being perfect. It is an internal resource that you can access at any time. You have learned that you are not your thoughts. You have learned that you are not your anxiety. You are the one who is aware of these things, and in that awareness lies your freedom. So as you move forward from this book, I want you to carry yourself with a new sense of confidence. Not the arrogant confidence of someone who thinks they have all the answers, but the quiet, deep confidence of someone who knows they can handle the questions. You know how to anchor yourself when you feel adrift. You know how to move your body to calm your mind. You know how to create a space that supports your peace. You know how to be a kind and compassionate friend to yourself. You have the blueprint. You have the tools. You have everything you need. This is your journey. It is a beautiful, messy, challenging, and rewarding one. There will be sunshine and there will be storms. Embrace it all. Be curious, be patient, be kind. And remember that every step you take on this path, no matter how small, is a step toward home. A step toward the unshakable calm and the deep, abiding peace that is your birthright. You are the eye of the storm. You are the calm in the chaos. Now go and live it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If these ideas resonated with you and you want to continue exploring how to find calm and navigate your inner world, I invite you to become a part of our community here at AudioWaves. Hit that subscribe button for more content designed to help you live a more present and peaceful life.